The following program is a collection of stooges talking about happenings in the sports world. It is meant to be comedic informative. The opinions expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect the beliefs of their peers, their boss, or ESPN. There may be some cuss words because that's how humans in the real world talk. If you are young, please seek permission before watching any further.
Hey.
Why?
Let's go!
This show stinks, and the fact that you listen, we are very, very thankful for.
Ah!
The all-time leading tackler for the Green Bay Packers,
You pig! Stop! Damn it!
Be a friend, tell a friend something nice could change their life.
Sport!
Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to our humble abode, the Thunderdome, on this Coach 'em Up Thursday, December 21st, 2023. This sports program starts now.
Football
is happening tonight. Week 16 of the NFL season kicks off with playoff implications on the line as the New Orleans Saints travel to Los Angeles to take on the Rams in a Sean McVay man who is 6-1 on short weeks, 3-0 on short weeks at home.
Whoa.
Remember last year he won with Baker Mayfield on Thursday night. Everybody thought it was insane. Will that trend continue this evening as Derek Carr, the man who can heal from any injury quicker than anybody on earth, Jimmy Graham, who's a touchdown scoring machine, and the boys in New Orleans are 4-point dogs against Matthew Stafford, who's wheeling and dealing, and Aaron Donald, who's obviously always going to be a topic of discussion in any game that he plays. We got a good one tonight on Prime.
Oh, yeah.
We also have a great show today. Listen, we got Coach Saban joining us in about 9 minutes, fresh off the number 2 ranked recruiting class in the country, depending upon who you listen to. Number 1. Potentially in the end. It's all projections on how players are going to go. We have Coach Cowher, Bill Cowher, formerly of the Pittsburgh Steelers, now of CBS Sports Sunday Kickoff Show alongside J.J. Watt and the boys over there. And then, obviously, we have a man who has coached for 36 years of his life, 18 in college, 18 in the NFL. Ladies and gentlemen, our coach, the people's coach, Chuck Pagano here. 3 coaches on today's show. We should be feeling better about ourselves by the end of it, at least a little bit motivated about what we're doing and how we're doing, especially in this holiday season. Merry Christmas to everybody. We hope your shopping is going fantastic. The Toxic Table is here. At Boston Connor, at Ty Schmidt. I see a couple Colorado Wolves there on your chest.
Yeah. I mean, they are Wolves. I won't say they're Colorado because these are happy free Wolves. Like you just mentioned, unfortunately, there were 5 beautiful creatures, 2 juvenile males, 2 juvenile females, 1 alpha big-ass wolf released into the Rocky Mountains in Colorado. Apparently, there are a lot of people up in arms about it because they're bored and they need something to be pissed about. And here we are with the Wolves being the thing that they've aimed their sights on. I would probably say, hey, why don't you aim that at Russell Wilson or the Colorado Avalanche or something else that maybe you can actually get pissed off. Getting pissed at 5 creatures.
Beautiful.
Creatures of God.
You see how people that live in the area maybe are thinking to themselves, do we put Arctic wolves out here? And they're having 2, they're having 2 youth males, 2 youth females.
Yeah.
Okay?
You see what they're...
They might be wolves, but I heard they're like rabbits. You know what I mean? So we
Yeah, a lot of howling.
like the wolves. That is an interesting move. I assume there was a lot of people that weren't appreciative of that particular move. And then Colorado had another move, too, this week that a lot of people were talking about.
Yeah.
Colorado, topic of a lot of discussion, wolves and cancellations. It's a beautiful time to talk sports instead. One half of the hammer, Dahn. Cowboys, Tone Diggs is here. Tone, you look great, pal.
Thank you. You look great as well. I really like those. I love the tanks. I respect the tanks. But your look this week.
The dress T-shirts.
Yeah.
They have been fantastic.
Long sleeves.
That's the move.
They've been, they've been hanging in the closet a long time. And my wife likes to take credit for it, that she's bought all these clothes. She certainly has. And she was very similar to how you feel. Like, tanks are cool. All right, you need to buy 60 Amazon tank tops every 6 months. That's very easy to do. But it has been nice to dive into some different, dressings. It's fun. It's not bad. Yeah. And I'm not as fat as I once was, so a lot of things can fit.
Bingo.
And I can wear them. So that's cool. We're going through similar things right now.
Yeah, super cool.
Yeah.
That's like, because that's what plain tees, plain long sleeves. That's the go-to.
Yeah, I'm built like a spark plug whenever I'm eating, so it's tough for me to wear those types of things because the body just kind of ruins it all. But now I've kind of worked my way through science and effort to a place where I can wear these
Earth
silk
tones.
shirts. I appreciate that. Hey, that's a great compliment there. Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas to you.
Hey, Merry Christmas to you guys.
Hey, Merry Christmas to you.
Hey, Coach, Merry Christmas
I
to
mean,
you.
happy holidays. Don't get pissed off. Happy holidays.
No, that's what I'm saying. Merry Christmas.
Yeah,
I think you're allowed to say that, though.
Well, we all
Standing on
celebrate
Christmas.
Christmas.
Yeah, like we hope all the other holidays are
Oh,
great
it's
as
not
well.
canceled
But
this
like
year?
we wished Happy Hanukkah
Yeah.
to Shefty,
Yeah.
and we didn't know it was over. We thought it was still
Yeah.
going. I guess it's only 8 nights. We weren't keeping track. That's 100% on us.
Whoops.
Kwanzaa's coming up. Great.
Yeah.
That's right.
Great celebration. I'm practicing that. I hope they have a great one.
They will.
Also, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Let's have a great Merry Christmas.
Celebrate that, too.
Speaking of, let's go into the weekend, Week 16, with a winning record gambling-wise. Chuck Pagano, when you look at this Rams-Saints game, this is a good one. This is a game that, actually matters. This is going to be good teams. A couple veteran quarterbacks. Now, Derek Carr's season has certainly gone a little bit differently than what I think they were hoping for, but they're still in a conversation to make the playoffs. And once you make the dance, who knows?
Yep.
Jimmy Graham obviously finds the end zone every single time he's on the field. Those are his only catches.
Yep.
And whenever you talk about Matthew Stafford, he's playing lights out football. We're talking fadeaway,
Dude.
sidearm, crossfield, oppo, sideline, boom. How you doing? He's been doing that the last couple of weeks. They lose to the Ravens a few weeks ago, obviously because of a punt return and that whole thing. But the Ravens considered one of the best teams in football. I assume the Rams and Matty Stafford think that they should have beat them already. They're vibing. It's a good one, Coach. Is that how you see it?
Absolutely. They're healthy. Their offense has scored 132 points the last 4 weeks, right?
Very good.
Third best in the National Football.
Like 40 points a game.
New Orleans comes in, they're 10th best, a little over 24 points a game. So Carr's got them guys going. I'm really interested to see this matchup. Dennis Allen, we talked about Tommy DeVito, right, going up against Dennis Allen, the New Orleans Saints defense.
Yeah, his shelf life. We heard it.
Yeah.
Right?
We heard it.
Yeah,
Lombo
Lombo.
brought it up.
Thanks a
we
lot,
heard it.
Mike.
So I'm
Almost
interested to see that.
ended Stellado's career.
Yeah.
did.
Paisan on Paisan crime.
Yeah, that was
Cam-
Paisan on Paisan. And then Lombardi was Paisan on Paisan.
Yeah.
Triple.
Why are you guys all
Love
doing this to
them.
us?
I get it.
Love them.
This is classic
Love
Italy.
everything about
Stellado's
it,
letting
but
stuff
it's just
fall through the
is what it
cracks.
is, right?
Yeah.
7 sacks. So this defense, I can't wait to see this matchup.
Okay, you think Kirk Herbstreit out Michael's wearing the ties?
Oh.
Got to. This is
think so.
both teams
Yeah.
playing for playoff berth implications. New Orleans controls their own destiny. They got Tampa in 2 weeks. They're not looking ahead. They got to win this one, otherwise, it's a no go. So they got Tampa at home. Nick.
Tone, what's
2
the
weeks.
public money doing? What are we doing on this particular?
Right.
4 points. Rams favored by 4. Obviously, the 3.5. We talk about 4, and it's home field advantage. Might have Blueface in the suite
Right.
on the sideline doing his thing. We never know what's going to happen in SoFi. It might rain inside. Actually,
Good.
Yeah,
SoFi is a place where a lot of things can happen. Sean McVay, 3-0 at home on short week, 6-1 overall. Gumpy brought that stat to life earlier today. I think that is a hard implication on where Gumpy's probably heading on this particular evening. Diggs, what's the money look like, and what should we be thinking about whenever we gamble on tonight's game?
Majority's on the Rams, and that's a lot of because the Saints have put a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths this year because they are 4-9-1 against the spread. So most of the time when you've taken the Saints this year, you've been disappointed, and that resonates with bettors, and it will tonight because the Rams, the Saints were they were supposed to win the NFC South. Rams, not supposed to be good this year. So the Rams have been covering machines. Saints, not so much. So then generally you just go to the team that's been good for you this year and also has Matthew Stafford and Puka Nakua and
Right.
Cooper Kupp and,
Right.
and all these name brands on offense. Normally get the
Kyron
more
Williams.
bets.
What are you saying on the defensive side, though? You're saying we don't know a lot of the players over there? We asked Dirty the other day. Dirty, big-time Rams fan.
I know Aaron Donald.
You know any of them?
I know Witherspoon because he was a Steeler.
There's
They got Raheem's done a great job. To your point,
No
a bunch
boom.
of no names, right?
So,
we don't know any of by no names. Great football players.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Byron Young, number 0.
But remember, they trade Jalen Ramsey out of there. Okay, see you later.
Taylor Rapp leaves.
See ya.
Yeah.
What? Bobby White. See ya.
Yep.
Everybody leaves that we knew about the defense was built around.
Rebuilding.
And they are rebuilding, but then
Kobe Turner,
You heard-
number 91. He's got 5.5 sacks. Byron Young's got 6. Aaron Donald's only got 6. There's some dudes on that defense.
yeah, I think so. And they've been
Raheem's
winning these
done a
games.
good job.
Yeah, they've been winning these games as well. Raheem Morris been a head coach before. People are talking about him potentially getting another head coaching job. But if you listen to what Sean McVay, Matt Stafford talked about going into the season, they were like excited for a new group of teammates almost. They kept their pillars. They kept staff. They kept Cooper. They kept Aaron Donald. It's like, all right, kept the head coach. We had money everywhere. We had no draft picks. We went all in. They keep some pillars. Now they're trying to build up around it. On the defensive side, I would say they're doing that because they're winning, and we don't know a single player other than Aaron Donald.
Nope.
And we're obviously stooges and not intelligent, and we could have Googled this beforehand. But what we're saying is we don't know any of these guys.
No.
And they could potentially tonight come to life in a way that's like, hey, in this NFC conversation, we understand it's the Niners. Why not the Rams making it to the dance and Matty Staff having a chance to go ahead and win in the Detroit City against the Lions in the first round of the playoffs?
Right.
And the Detroit Lions fans who have been yearning for a playoff game for so long have to stare down their old dog.
Yep.
That'd be a problem.
It's destiny. It's going to happen. Everyone in Detroit knows it. It's going to be at Ford Field. Stafford's going to come in. Will he throw for 500 yards and 5 touchdowns? Yes. It'll probably come down to the last 2 minutes, and hopefully it ends in a fashion that Detroit loves, where Stafford throws a pick to us and we finally win a playoff game for the first time since 1990. That's storytelling. That's
so
script
fitting.
writing. That's destiny.
All that guy did for your guys' city.
And that's why we sent him off. He got his Super Bowl. He's happy. He's in LA. It's warm weather. He's doing it.
Commercials.
It's our time now, Matthew, and he knows it.
Okay, you think he's going to maybe just hand the game over to MCDC
Well,
boys?
And it's more so like a trade game because the trade now is final. They have all the players from the draft picks that they got.
Yeah.
Laporta's one of them. Brian Branch is one of them. Gibbs, Campbell.
Laporta's worked out pretty good.
Yeah.
All of them have.
All of them.
They've drafted incredibly well up
Oh,
there.
yeah. Golf revenge game, too, if that happens. Golf will be ready to go.
Well, what about Matthew Stafford?
Stafford game for having to live in
Well,
that
they
city
already
for
won,
so long.
so it doesn't count.
So his vengeance is already gone.
Yeah, exactly.
His vengeance is completely gone. I appreciate that. I'm excited for tonight's game. And for the Saints, I mean, to your point, everybody just assumed they were going to win the NFC South without the NFC South was looking. And it's like, maybe still, maybe not. Derek Carr, is he the answer down there? Who knows?
Yeah.
How long is that going to last? What's next year look like down there? Dennis Allen, a great defense, but like, what have the Saints been since Sean Payton got traded to the Broncos? There's so many questions. And it's week 16. These are pivotal games for futures, not only for the team, obviously, this season, but also like program.
Yeah.
The whole program line. There's a lot of conversations to be had after this evening.
The Saints, it feels like when we get to this point in the year, every year, it's like, well, next year they're going to have to blow it up and figure it out all over again. And that's like the difference between the 7-7 Rams and 7-7 Saints. Like, Rams have their guys. Stafford's locked in. He's going to be there. He just had that 4-year, $160 million extension. He's going to be there. Donald's going to be there. Cub's going to be there. Puka's going to be there. Kyron Williams is going to be there. Like, they have their core. The Saints, every single year, probably aside from Cameron Jordan and Demario Davis, like, they have to rebuild almost every year around a couple pieces, and it's never the quarterback. It's the worst position you could build around. So it does feel like this is a Sean McVay, hey.
And just because it's the NFL, that means the Saints probably come out and do a great job there.
Yeah,
absolutely.
This entire thing, because it never makes sense. But you know what does make sense? The fact that this man is considered the greatest of all time whenever it comes to college football coaching.
Hell yeah.
7-time national champion, fresh off a big-time signing day, recruiting the next class of future NFLers that will roll through this man's program. The head coach of the Alabama Crimson Tide, Nick Saban.
Yeah,
How are we, Coach?
Good doing, man. Doing great.
Hey, how is signing day? That's got to be a lot of pressure. We saw Ryan Day find out live while he was at a press conference that Smith, Jeremiah, the
Wide receiver.
Number one
wide receiver, actually committed to Ohio State. And he fainted almost. He's like, whoa, because I guess it was like a close call. Signing day always high pressure, or what is signing day for you, and what has it been over the years? Another great class comes in.
Yeah, well, it is a lot of pressure, and there's a lot of stuff going on right now. Of course, we're on the practice field half the day, while signing day is going on. We're planning for a game. We're planning for practice. So, you're spending time recruiting, but it's you got a lot of balls in the air at this time. I think every college coach would tell you this 2-week period where you're trying to get ready for a game, where you're trying to finish recruiting, where you got signing day coming up, is a really, really difficult time to manage in terms of where are you going to invest the most time. So, once you start practicing, it's a little more difficult, a little more challenging. to stay with the recruiting aspects of it. But we're really happy with the class that we got. We're pleased with the guys that we got. They're the right kind of people. They're the right kind of guys. Hopefully we can add a few more, good players down the road, and we'll just keep working on it.
All right, well, congrats on another great class. Let's talk about the calendar year for college football. So next year, 12-team playoff, obviously, so that's going to cut into this time as well. So there's going to be more coaches who have earned their way into practicing while the signing period is happening. Do you think there's going to come a time where this is going to change, potentially, to make people's lives make more sense? Because you should be focused. You've earned your way into the college football playoff. But then, one of the most important parts of college football is recruiting and signing your next class. And now you kind of are getting punished by what you guys have earned. That doesn't seem to make a lot of sense, but that's just part of the job, or how do we change that?
I think that, most of us realized that how many years ago it was, 5-6 years ago, where we decided to have an early signing date. And there are benefits to that. And there are benefits to the players. But because we have an early signing date, it really kind of became the signing date probably for about 90% of the players who are getting recruited. And then the next phase of that was the recruiting calendar gets moved up, where you can have visits in the summertime and all that type of stuff, which is another thing that's probably good. But I think the most difficult part of that is you got all this stuff coming together at once in terms of, practice, preparation for a bowl game or a playoff game, as well as a signing date. And I don't really have a solution that would say what would make it better. Taking away the early signing date, that obviously would clear up the preparation for the games. Moving the signing date up further would impact high school players probably. I mean, if I was a high school coach, I wouldn't want a player on my team to be able to sign before he finished playing for me, because you may have some of that we have in college, where a player says, well, I'm not going to play in the bowl game because I'm going to get ready for the NFL. Well, I'm not going to really play my high school season because I already have a college scholarship. So, there's a lot of pros and cons to all this. I think it is what it is, and we all have to live with it. I'm not complaining about it.
No. It was me.
Difficult.
Yeah, it was me complaining for you just because it doesn't seem to make sense. Like in the NFL, for instance, they have these head coaching interviews that take place, and normally it's the coordinators for the teams that are in AFC Championship, NFC Championship, or the Super Bowl, and this is the biggest game of their lives, potentially, and they've earned the head coaching interviews. But for Monday, Tuesday of the week of the Super Bowl, these guys have to go interview because they might not get the job. It's like, that makes no sense. Like, that shouldn't be how it is, especially for people that are having success. So it's me bitching, not you. Just want to make sure that is very, very clear. Now, all right, cool, I got you. Yeah. So now with the transfer portal also happening, and now the seniors signing early and committing late, it's like, at what point do you have to figure out, and I know you said you have a roster manager or something, like a general manager down there, but at what point do you all right, we'll use 60% of our scholarships on high school guys, we'll use 40% on transfer portal, because we're seeing Prime got 5 guys out of high school, and then I think 10 or 11 out of the transfer portal at the same time. How do you decide that? Do you have to, what is the weighing of the options there, especially at this specific time with it all coming together at the same time?
Right. Well, we don't really have a specific number on it. Basically, we look at the transfer portal a lot like free agency, which means that if we have a need on our team, because if a guy's going to transfer, he probably needs to play. He's looking for a place to play. So it's important for him to be able to play. It's important for you to be able to need him to play. So we look at the transfer portal like, hey, if we're missing maybe a left tackle, or we're missing, a linebacker on defense, whatever the position is, we're really searching to try to complement our roster, with guys that we could get from the transfer portal. So that's kind of how we've approached it, and we end up with 4 or 5 guys. I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs, J-Mo Williams, all those guys were guys that made significant impacts that came from the transfer portal. So that's been very helpful to us.
That's like the new norm. It feels like how everybody's treating it. Some teams are building directly through that. That happens in the NFL as well with free agency. Go with the vets, the established people. But in college now, there's a whole new business world that gets involved. I don't know how you guys are handling it all. Hey, but good work over there. Yeah. Good work over there. 17 to 20-year-olds deciding a lot of futures. One last question here on recruiting from Ty.
Yeah, Coach, a lot of what we see now, is like a kid will have a verbal commitment pretty early, and then as we lead up to signing day, there's all this talk about him flipping his decision from one place to another. Obviously, you guys, with a lot of your guys, are battling between a lot of these other blue bloods in college football. How do you kind of decide and manage, like, trying to flip a kid when hey, this kid is still interested? We can maybe put a little pressure on him to see if we can get him to come, or knowing, when it's time to just kind of call it quits and, hey, this kid is not going to be committing to Alabama. He's going to go somewhere else. How do you manage that aspect of it?
Yeah, well, I think that it's a very good question. I think there's one sort of factor involved in recruiting now that did not used to be involved in recruiting. And that's the whole concept of I don't want to say it's pay for play, but name, image, and likeness has turned into something very similar to that. So what you have in some cases is you have players who are looking to create value for their future. They're looking to go to a program where they can have a good quality of life, but at the same time, their personal development, their academic development, their career development on and off the field are all things that are most important to them and their family. And then you have some people that are just looking for, where can I make the best deal? And, sometimes those factors change, toward the end. And you have to be aware of, which guys are solid, which guys are coming here for the reasons that you really recruited them, which was to create value for their future and try to allow them to have a really good quality of life while they're doing that. But at the same time, knowing that there's guys out there that are looking and searching for, where can I make the best deal? So, and you kind of got to try to recruit enough guys on the board that are good players that they can complement each one of these types of guys that are making these decisions. So there's a few more factors involved in where guys go to school now than there used to be.
Yeah, the pay for play thing is with the collectives and because they're throwing out money, how much money people are getting paid and made. And I'm texting people that potentially would know, agents and such. I'm like, are these real numbers? Like, everything's inflated that you're seeing right now. Every number's being inflated by the agents. They're the ones putting it out there to put leverage on other people to potentially make more money. So nobody knows what's real and what isn't real. It's a wild transition phase right now that's happening in college. Is that an accurate depiction there of the situation, Coach?
That is accurate. I like the way you say things, so I don't have to say them. It is.
I got you, Coach. Now, transition era, not just with money and players, but also the future of college football potentially as a whole. Conman's got a question for you.
Yeah, Coach. Obviously, the conference realignments and things of that nature have kind of become very prevalent in the college football world right now. And I think it was last week, Chip Kelly did an interview basically talking about how, splitting it up into East and West, 64 teams on both sides, 8 divisions of 8 that you play every year, and then you schedule 6 or 7 other games elsewhere. And a lot of the things that he was talking about was how UCLA has rivalries with these schools in other sports like Arizona or Stanford, but now because that their football team is going to the Big Ten, all those rivalries are going to change. How do you feel about a format like that kind of changes the perception of you got to be in one of those Power Fives to go all the way, and kind of just splitting it up into a easier kind of travel also for these teams, and still keeping the same old school type rivalries of these legendary schools who have been playing certain teams for since the beginning?
Yeah, well, I think there's a great argument for traditions of college football. And, college football has been great for a lot of people. It's been great for fans. It's been a great opportunity for, many guys, not just in football, but in all sports. I think I read a stat where 82% of the people who won medals in the Olympics got, trained in college. So, some of that is all going to change. I mean, what we see as college football right now is being completely disassociated from the traditions of what we've seen in the past. And we've had some great traditions here, as all schools do, in all sports. And some of those things are going to go by the wayside because decisions are made for mega conferences. These decisions are getting made for probably financial reasons in terms of you know, on one hand, to make a better program so that you can invest more in players, but on the other hand, you may be eliminating some opportunities for some other people.
Yeah, it's happening all over the place, especially with that Pac-12. He compared, you obviously have, 1,000 things going on, so you didn't hear it. He said the Pac-12 disappeared out of nowhere, $100 million business, like Bed Bath & Beyond did. Just, see ya, we are gone. That's what Chip Kelly said about it. And it's like right now, it's a whirlwind of change hitting everything at once. How does it get wrangled in, you think? Does it get figured out? How do you think this whole thing pans out, Coach, just as a man who's obviously at the top of the game?
I think it's going to continue in the same direction that it's going until something happens. I call it a thunderbolt, where maybe people start dropping sports because the finance part of it can't make sense in terms of what you can reinvest in non-revenue sports, or some players out there don't get what they were promised, and there's lots of lawsuits and stuff. There's going to be some kind of a thunderbolt, because this is not a system that we have right now that has any guardrails. And in most competitive venues, there are some guardrails that, sort of control what you can and can't do, whether it's the NFL in terms of where you pick in the draft to create parity or whatever it is. And right now it's a game of whoever's willing to invest the most has the best chance to have the best team.
Well, you talk about the NFL and, I appreciate you calling it a thunderbolt. That seems like an equalizer, like a situation that's going to take place where everybody's going to have to finally open their eyes, because it feels like it's common sense thought that if you don't have structures of contracts, there's probably going to be bad contracts. If you don't have what deals look like, there's probably going to be bad deals all over the place. Somebody has to do something, Hey, figure it out. Figure it out, smart people.
Come on, smart people.
Figure it out. All right, let's direct our attention now to the big one, the game that you've earned yourself into, the Rose Bowl coming up on New Year's Day. Chuck has a question for you, Coach.
Hey, Coach, how you doing?
Chuck.
Hey, I was wondering about game plan, implementation, practice, how much you've done, if that's complete. I know we tried to do in the National Football League, tried to get everything, getting ready for a Super Bowl. You had 2 weeks, so you tried to get everything done the week at home because you knew there was going to be a lot of stuff going on, media responsibilities, et cetera, et cetera. How much of that game plan is done? And when you go to L.A., I'm assuming you probably leave the day after Christmas. How much practice time and how much implementation? Or is there just tweaking out there, and is it going to be mostly walkthrough type stuff?
Basically, we try to structure our practices where we have, I think we had 3 practices that I call fundamental practices. Players have to go back, and when you have this much time off and this much time between games, you got to kind of reinvest in your conditioning, reinvest in your fundamentals, reinvest in taking care of the ball, tackling, all these things when you don't play for a long time, you can get a little rusty at. So we try to spend 3 days on that, and then we have a normal Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of what we would do in the season here, where we're trying to, implement the plan, as if we were playing a game on Saturday. And then when we go to LA, we'll repeat that same thing again, but 1 day in advance. So we're a little back end loaded on the rest time for the game.
Okay, with the Super Bowl, I was very lucky to play one my rookie year. Nobody had a clue who I was, so I didn't have any distractions. There was no events that I was getting asked to go to, but all my friends were. For these types of games, obviously you've been to them a lot. Media responsibilities, events, distractions, there's a lot of that for the players, or do you keep them guarded away from all of it?
No, we have some responsibilities that, sort of go with the territory that are required, for the players to be involved in. But, I think it takes mature guys to be able to manage external factors that, can cloud, how focused you are and what you need to do. But what I try to emphasize with the players is, look, man, when we're here, we got to focus. I know it's going to be Christmas in a couple days, but we got to focus on practice. We got to focus on the meetings. We got to reinvest in what we got to do to go play well in this game. And, excellence has a price. It doesn't come easy. It's not free. So we all got to make an investment in what we got to do when we're here. And then the couple of days we have off for Christmas, I want you to enjoy yourself. And then when we refocus, I don't care if we have media or whatever that we have to deal with, we got to focus on what we got to do on the field to play well, and that's got to be the number one priority for all of us.
Excellence isn't free. Is that what you said?
It's not free. The price. You got to pay for it up front too.
Every day.
Yep. Awesome.
Every day. How are the boys taking it? How do you feel about the team? Vibes good? Moxie high?
It's good. Once we started, sort of planning for the game, that gave them a focus. I think, when you get this point in the season and you've played this many games, 13 games, players are into a rhythm of what are we doing to get ready for the game, and that's where their focus is. So, those first 3 days were hump days, I call them, in terms of trying to get guys to do things the way you want, but the players did a good job of it, and they've been really good this week.
Hey, huge win over Georgia in that SEC championship.
Yep. Yeah.
You can see how maybe a not as mature team maybe feel themselves a little bit. Because at the beginning of the season, these boys were cast off.
Yeah,
that's right.
This team stinks. Oh, this isn't the same Alabama. Now here we are, rolling into the Rose Bowl. Merry Christmas, Coach. Have a phenomenal holiday, and we'll talk to you next week.
Yeah, well, you can't be drinking that Kool-Aid that you're talking about. You got to be able to stay focused and have a sense of purpose in what you're doing, and that's what some of these external things can do to you. So it's much more difficult to deal with success than it is when you get your butt beat. So hopefully our players are mature enough to do it. And Merry Christmas to you all. Have a great holiday.
Hey, you're the man. Hey, that team's real good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Coach Nick Saban. Thank you, buddy. That was awesome. Yeah, that's the Kool-Aid, okay?
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard about Jonestown. Yeah.
Yeah. Remember?
That we don't need to be doing that. It'll kill you, okay? Maybe when everybody else is drinking the Kool-Aid, you just watch them. All right, you need
Rat poison.
Need to stick. Yeah, he is.
Excellence has a price.
Yeah, dude.
Unreal.
Yeah, it is. That's a great way. It's all the same message.
Do every day.
Yeah.
It's just how you word it, Yeah, that's like J.J. Watt's.
Yep.
What is it? Success
Is
isn't
leased.
owned,
Yeah.
it's
It's
leased.
leased.
And rent is due every single day.
Yep.
J.J. Watt.
Why?
Remember the name.
20% luck. 4% luck.
Yeah.
Yeah. At most.
Everything else
20's
is
way too high.
hard work and passion and will.
That's right.
Yep.
Hey, that Burnley team needs to pick it up. Let's talk about this college football world, though. A lot of things have been said by everybody that's in it that said, like, this is not sustainable.
Yeah.
Right? Doesn't it feel like that is literally
Basically, oh yeah.
It's
every
not.
human we've talked to?
Yeah.
The commissioner of the SEC, every coach we've talked to that's been around college football a long time has had a lot of success in college football. Seemingly like every player you hear, like they're enjoying it, obviously. But to the point he made about the Thunderbolt, like some of these players aren't going to get the money that they were allegedly
No.
owed, because the deal is crop. It's not a real deal, which goes back to the point about having guardrails. Guardrails isn't just like saying no player shouldn't make money. I'm the biggest player should make money guy in the history, potentially. In the history. You could look it up. You could look it up.
Yep.
Since the day I learned of the whole thing.
Receipts.
Literally been like that. But also, in the name of players making money, there's a lot of deals that they're getting screwed on. Because people have no idea what a good deal looks like. And if you come from nothing and you've never been around anybody that has any idea about any of it, whenever you're presented $75,000, it's like, that's more than both my parents make combined in 1 year. Yeah, I think we will take $75,000. Well, what you're giving up is like 25% of your career earnings for the rest of your life.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Whatever.
Okay, yeah, I guess you could take 25%. You're not taking 25% of this. No, next deal or whatever. It's like, yeah, give me the 75. There's like people signing that, and then if they don't play, that money's not coming. But if they do play and they do make money, they're going to owe for 25% forever because this is a shady shammy and it's not even a regulated thing.
So just yesterday.
There's just so much bullshit.
Yeah.
It's like they're setting up for bullshit. That is literally what the entire thing is set up for.
Just yesterday, there was a ton of flips, and you can imagine like a school or whatever it is comes in the last minute and puts a number in front of the kid, but that kid has no chance to look over a deal or present it to anybody else who actually knows about a deal, and they just see the number and they sign and they flip schools, and the money not be right. And then the kid at Ohio State got the number one wide receiver, whatever the rumor was. Like there was a delay or whatever, and it's because the paperwork was still being worked on and hadn't been signed yet. Like because the structure of the deal, they were waiting for that to get like worked out. Like that, there's a lot of that stuff going on like to the last minute.
And Ryan Day had no control over it.
Nope,
None.
That was a collective or some other business that was doing that deal, that if they were able to get the deal done, then he was going to be a member. The number one recruit in the country is coming to your school. If these people that aren't a part of your program, that you don't do business with, can get a deal done with them as well. It's like, that's tough. That doesn't make a lot of sense in my eyes. But People are getting paid.
Yeah.
Overinflated numbers on the internet, but people are getting paid.
Yeah, it's still awesome. And there was another thing kind of similar to what Tony said. Like the recruits, I think he was the number one JUCO recruit. He pulled up to Ole Miss in a Lamborghini to sign his thing. And people are saying, like, yeah, this is cool and all, but Jim Harbaugh is being suspended because he got a cheeseburger with the guy.
Yeah, the NCAA has not punished Harbaugh yet on the cheeseburger recruiting thing.
It had to be Lane's, right?
Yeah, that's his.
Yeah.
That's that family.
That kid's.
That's Lane.
Yeah.
Can the head coach give the
No.
collective? He can't give it to the collective.
He's not allowed
He
to.
can't give it out.
Schools aren't allowed to do it. That's Matt Rule's biggest thing.
Right.
I think Matt Rule brought it up. He was like, don't you think that we should be the ones handling the business with them because, like, we know them, we have an institution behind us? He said it's third parties, like collectives, which I think do have a relationship. I think collectives, they do, but there's also other just like groups of people with money that are like, yep, want them to come to town or whatever doing these deals. And it's like, that just doesn't make, I'm not saying the school is the right answer either. I would assume somebody at the school should, but like coaches should at least have a little bit of representation for the player with the whole thing, or at least skin in the game so that if it doesn't work out, there's a reputation on the line for the coaches. Because when it's just player and third party, we don't know. Player's the only one that has any skin in the game there, right? Third party, don't know, could just kind of, I don't want to say screw them over. I'm not saying everybody will, but certainly can. It's like if you get the coaches involved, you're also giving a little bit more leverage for the thing to be real and legit through the player, because at least there's a representation from somebody else that is at least known or has structure behind it. There's just so much that has to get fixed. They're waiting on a thunderbolt is what they say.
It also gives much more power to the collective than it does any of the coaches, because like if a coach wants to recruit certain guys, like in the collective can ultimately just be like, yeah, well, you know, I don't know if we think he's the right guy for the program, so we're not going to honor what
allegedly there was a hiring of a head coach that was not okayed by collective.
Yeah, bingo.
And then collective goes,
exactly.
I don't know about that. I don't know if that's okay. Well, all right, we'll look for somebody. We'll look for somebody else.
So, like, how are you even supposed to recruit and like put together a team when it's like, hey, I don't like, we really like our board here with guys we want to go out and get, but there's also a good chance that 10 of these guys, the collective, come back and say like, nah, we're not going to give this kid money.
I would love if there was some super arrogant, non-self-aware donor, okay, that has $10 million a year for a school.
Sure.
Only says, I'm general manager of the team now.
Yep.
I'm picking who's playing quarterback. I'm picking who we're signing for this. I'm picking for that. Now, granted, you would assume that all these boosters want schools to do well, so they're hands off. But what if there's a David Tepper situation?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
You have no idea. You have no idea what's taking place. Hopefully we can figure it out. Joining us now is a man who might have more information on the things that we're talking about, but certainly has information on maybe a school leaving the ACC.
Oh. Whoa. What?
Yeah.
Clemson?
No.
UNC?
No.
Duke?
No.
The one that won the conference and got
Florida State is the answer.
Really?
Joining us now, ladies and gentlemen, the authority of college football, Pete Thamel.
Hey, Peter!
Pete, what's up? See you jacked up. Merry Christmas, pal. How you doing?
Gentlemen, thanks for having me. Always a pleasure to stop by. I love the Christmas backdrop, Pat. Very festive.
It's the North Pole, Pete. It's the North Pole. It's where all the magic happens, obviously, in this time of year. And I'll tell you what, we haven't had any Pete Thamels on the show in a while.
No.
It is great to hear your voice.
Yeah.
It is great to hear your voice. But anytime you're coming on to explain a situation that we have learned about. We just talked to Nick Saban about the NIL, the transfer portal, the business, the collectives, everything college-wise. So I don't want to chit-chat about that. What I would like to chat about is this breaking news this morning, pretty much, that FSU has a meeting happening this Friday morning. They have a bunch of lawyers basically scanning the deal with the ACC to see if they can find an out so that they don't get fined $70-some million, I believe was the number, I think. I forget what it was exactly. Pete, can you explain this to us a little bit more? And is this Florida State saying, we went undefeated in the ACC? We're the ACC champs, and it still wasn't good enough. With all the money that's going everywhere else and the state of our league currently, we need to get out of here? Is that kind of the messaging, and how do you see this kind of going?
So I think that the Florida State snub amplified their desire to push this to this step we're at right now, Pat. But if you really look, I guess the news is that Florida State has called a board meeting for Friday to discuss potentially taking legal action to get out of the grant of rights. Do you want a grant of rights explanation?
Sure,
Pat?
sure. And how much
All
money,
right.
too, what the grant of rights is. We need that for sure.
So a grant of rights by definition is when you sign a conference television contract. Part of it inherently, as long as I've done this, is that if the deal like the ACC's is currently is through 2036, you grant the ACC your rights. So right now, the ACC owns the rights to every team in the ACC's home sports content until 2036. So it's the same for Florida State as it is for Boston College, Wake Forest, Miami, whoever else. And when they signed the 20-year deal somewhere around 2015, 16 to do this, they essentially said, you own all our content, for lack of a better way to put it. So now, 8 years in, Florida State officials have been very clear that they feel like the ACC deal is now out of market. And therefore, they want to unwind from the grant of rights, which would be the first step towards leaving the league and then joining another league. This is not going to be clean or linear. The lawyers will win, as they always do, and the billable hours are already astronomical. You'll enjoy this detail, Pat, for the absurdity of it. In order to examine the grant of rights, you have to go to the ACC's offices. You're not allowed an actual copy of it. So Florida State has gone at least a half dozen times. I've been told maybe as many as 8 or 9. To Greensboro first and then Charlotte when they moved. And they've had lawyers, officials, everybody examine this grant of rights with a fine-tooth comb. You're not allowed to take a copy out.
So you have to go into their house to tell them that you're trying to get out of their deal.
Correct.
So it's like Wolf of Wall Street when they're getting audited. They're sitting in a very cold room, probably, very hot room. They're not getting any waters, no food, no DoorDash allowed.
Nope.
Nothing like that. Got it. And they're paying. The Florida State is paying these lawyers to do this. A lot of money.
Yes. They're definitely, the lawyers are definitely winning right now out of Tallahassee. So this moment is not surprising if you listen to Florida State's rhetoric in the last year. In February, Michael Alford, the athletic director, said something has to change financially in order for Florida State to stay in the ACC. In August, the school president said that they very seriously consider leaving the ACC. Now, like in the history that I've done this 20 years now, Pat, nobody that I've ever seen has come out and spoken this overtly against a league. So today's announcement that there's a board meeting tomorrow is essentially actions meeting words. And the actions were expedited because of the snub, but I don't think you can fairly say this is solely because of the snub. They wanted to do this. They've essentially declared they're going to do it, and this is how they're going to do it. And to answer the financial piece, I think it's important to say that it's two-pronged, right? If you were just to cleanly exit the ACC, it would cost $120 million. But you're also going to have to somehow unwind from the grant of rights. I'm not a lawyer, and this is unprecedented with what they're trying to do with the ACC. So you can't say, Wichita State tried to leave the Missouri Valley's grant of rights in 1987. There's no precedent to this at all. So it's difficult to predict how it will go. But the thought would be there would have to be some kind of negotiated resolution, which would, again, be very expensive. Florida State's rights for the next 12 years are worth a lot of money. And the ACC isn't just going to say, okay, we're going to let you go. So that could be another $100 million plus either a negotiation or a court says, okay, we'll allow you to go, but you have to pay the worth of it. And it's a tremendous amount of money. So this is going to be expensive, and it's not certain to work. Court could say, you know what? You willingly signed these documents. You're gonna have to honor your contract.
Interesting. That's why the lawyers are going in there trying to find every asterisk that they possibly can. This is the force majeure situation that got dropped into a lot of different contracts after, the COVID situation. So good luck to the lawyers in that hot room in Charlotte, North Carolina, the home of ACC. Good luck to Florida State. But there might come a conversation of do we spend about $200 million on this, or do we put that in a collective and continue to do it to our team? That's and them getting, screwed this year. Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Not fair.
No.
I could see how we got to get out of here. We're making the least amount of money. What is it? They're making their TV deal, the ACC deal. It's something like 20, maybe 20 or something like that. What is the TV deal?
So the best way to characterize it going forward, and the TV deals are sort of dynamic and fluid, is that when the SEC and Big Ten are at full throttle in the upcoming years, the expectation is they'd be about $30 million behind annually. So the thought that's been prevailing at Florida State, and Clemson has mentioned this as well, is that we can't compete with, if you're Florida State, say Florida, if you're Clemson, say South Carolina, your neighboring schools, if they're making $30 million more a year than you. Now, there's been some adjustments that the ACC has tried to do to address this issue. They brought in some new teams at a cut rate, and everybody's getting $2 million more a year from that. Success initiatives the ACC implemented this spring that would essentially, potentially, if you make like the national title game, you could make between, I was told, 12 and 20 million more. We don't know how much the TV contract for the CFP is going to be worth yet. So the ACC has tried to address this issue, but it is those actions have not deterred Florida State. And then, obviously, the next question, Pat, would be: will others also challenge the grant of rights and potentially try to exit too?
Yes, could be precedent here for a lot of other people to get out of there. But if you do some quick math, 120 million, and you're behind 30 million, so that's 4 years, right? Of just basically being left behind is the $120 million. That's probably how they're justifying it in their eyes. Anyways, we appreciate you taking the time, brother. Enjoy yourself. You had to keep track of all the flipping of recruits yesterday. Is that what your day was like yesterday?
I did do a ton of the flipping yesterday. I was working on this stuff yesterday. But yeah, the flipping's fun. Flip season.
Flip's fun. Flip's fun. Ladies and gentlemen, the authority, Pete Thamel. Thank you. All right, there we go. So I feel like we just did college football pretty good.
Yeah, that's nuts.
What did we learn? $120 million at the base.
Yeah, and potentially $200 million just to get out of the ACC.
But you do the $30 million thing, that's a little less than 7 years.
Right.
Of what you're backing up. So if you think 10 years in advance, you're making money, you're up actually 90 million is what they would say. That deal's 20 years and they're 8 years into it.
Wasn't it until 35?
So that's a 12-year thing, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So right there.
So then you got 7-year backup, 12 years left on this particular deal. You catch up about year 10. That's the math that they're doing for the long play here.
Do all teams have to go?
But the money's due right now.
Yeah. Even more so why they'd be pissed if they didn't make the college football playoff if that success initiative is going to give you $20 million potentially.
Starting next year.
Yeah.
Starting next year. That's great. And then where do they go? The SEC, everybody just assumes, right?
Yeah.
Because they're right there. He mentioned Florida and them.
So all the teams at Florida State leave, not just the football? Because isn't this all football deals?
Well, so this is the Chip Kelly situation.
Yeah.
This is what Chip Kelly was talking about, how we screwed the softball team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think I like that? I don't like that. We screwed the basketball team. You think I don't like that? They're just coming after me. I'm like, we're just trying to find a home.
But if they could partner with Clemson and figure out something together, then
FSU and Clemson, so that'd be $240 million that the ACC would be getting. That'd be pretty good for all the other schools.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
If they leave, though, I mean, the ACC's pretty much dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, if Clemson leaves, then what? Duke, UNC, basically, and Miami. Hey, still got a name.
Sure.
Yeah.
Boston College.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Let's talk about the NFL a little bit here, Chuck. It seems like they're trying to find every technicality to take down the brotherly shove, aren't they?
It's ridiculous at this point.
Tush push has gotten too big for its britches. That's what the NFL's saying, isn't it? That's seemingly what they're saying.
Okay.
Jason Kelsey got screwed the other night.
He did.
He didn't. He did what he does every single play, and they're calling false start.
What a
On
joke.
the center, on the tush push. Seems like you're looking for a technicality. Seems like you're trying to ban the play without having to actually ban the play. Seems like you're playing both sides of the fence, NFL. It's kind of what I was thinking. Jason Kelsey said we were completely wrong whenever we're saying that.
No.
Yeah, he certainly did something that he was not supposed to do. Here's Jason Kelsey talking to his brother Travis Kelsey on the New Heights podcast, #1 sports podcast on earth, about the brotherly shove play and the state of the Philadelphia Eagles.
We got to talk about it, my brother. I know this is a tough one, losing 3 in a row. Any initial thoughts?
Losing sucks, man. It really does. We're not playing the way we're capable of playing. It's one thing when you lose and, you're just not as talented, I think, as the other teams. I've said this the last 3 weeks, and I still think so. I think we have great players. I really do. I think we have great coaches. It's just not clicking right now. Myself included, we have not been disciplined enough. We haven't executed, especially in crucial moments of the game. My false start was crucial. It ended up being a big reason why we didn't win the game.
The league just won't let the brotherly shove be great, man. They're harping on this.
No. Stop. I got nobody to blame but myself.
Every single time you guys get in that formation, they are.
I know that. I have been warned about this because in years past, I had been known to move the ball up. I really have not done that much this year. The problem was I set my feet too close to the ball. So when I'm trying to get a forward lean, I move the ball a little bit too far. I get it. And it's the right call. I mean, it was really stupid. Put my hands on the ball first, then set my feet. then I guarantee that call's not going to happen. We didn't even need a full yard for the first down. When we were 10-1, we were just collectively operating on a much more consistent, situationally aware, smart football team. This is not smart. This is stupid. Losing sucks, but I know we're a hell of a lot better than what we've been showing on tape. There's great people in that building that I look forward to getting this corrected with.
Hey, still all in front of you, Jason.
Oh, yeah.
Come on.
That's sexiest, one of the sexiest men on earth right there.
Damn right.
You know what I mean? You just need to swing the momentum in your favor. Need to get a little bit of Big Mo on your side.
Yep.
Now, what he's talking about here, you got a side shot there. Okay, when the ball is set down for the line of scrimmage, okay, center comes up to the line, does his thing, then he bends over, then normally just kind of puts it out in front a little bit wherever it is, and that little tilt, not a big deal. But if you accidentally set your feet a little bit too close to the ball there while you're doing your thing, and then you got to get down here, and you got to get low for the brotherly shove, you got to move that to a point. It's too far. That's what the ref said. It's egregious.
Too much.
That's what the refs would have said.
Yeah.
Just like Kadarius Toney was standing on the other team's side of the field in that particular play, the refs are like, it's agreed. Like, what do you?
Can't do it.
Can't do that. Jason Kelsey, he said it was egregious what I did. It was. They've warned me in the past. He said, I've been known in the past to be a guy that moves the ball. Okay, most centers are. Long snappers, same exact thing. Because it's all in just how casual and how normal you make it look. You can steal a yard or two, especially if it's one of those close ones. For field goals in situations like that, long snappers will move it up a half a yard or back a half a yard so that it can be the perfect distance so we can make sure we get laces. This is standard operating procedure. He said it was just too egregious. So I appreciate Jason Kelsey owning up to it, and we'd like to apologize to the NFL for automatically assuming they're trying to screw the Philadelphia Eagles in a brotherly shove. That's on us.
Sure, absolutely. But to your point about it being egregious, if it was 3rd and inches, you have to assume that ref, he moved the ball probably to a first down, and the ref is like, okay,
come on,
we can't be snapping.
It was a full half yard, Connor.
Oh, okay. It looked like he moved it a full half yard.
Yeah, that's
what
which.
Yeah,
which is.
That's what he moved, a full half.
And he said it's egregious. He said it's absolutely egregious. On a field goal, they're not really looking because it's 4th down. We're kicking a field goal. This isn't changing the outcome of the game. But if you move that thing half yard and it's a 3rd and 1, you're gaining 3 feet on a 6-foot play there pretty quickly. And it's like that is going to be something they're going to have to call. I think the bigger issue, and you start talking about us not all being disciplined and dialed in enough. 2 new coordinators over there. Now 3 new coordinators for the Philadelphia Eagles this season. Obviously, success brings like options and opportunities for a lot of people in your building. Losing both coordinators in the same year. Tough task for Nick Sirianni to continue his culture whenever you got 2 new voices in the room?
Absolutely. Because if you're not developing within, I think the great teams, the ones that have had sustained success, they're bringing in guys and they're grooming the next dude. Because when you win, that's going to happen. They're going to go get jobs. So you're grooming those guys. So on offense, I think Brian Johnson was there. They brought in the new defensive coordinator along with Matt Patricia, Sean Desai. So, yeah, that's a new voice, new terminology. Maybe they have their own thoughts on things. A quarterback hearing a certain voice in his ear, a defender hearing a certain voice in his ear. I think D-Butt might have mentioned it. Like when you change, you get used to one guy, like on defense. Like in Baltimore, when I was there and coordinated the 1 year in 11, there were certain situations that would come up where the guys knew already before I even spit a call into the mic. They knew what was coming. They knew what it was going to be within 1 or 2 calls. So that changes because everybody thinks a little bit different in situational ball. To your point, just to go back, because the offsides deal on offense was a point of emphasis, right? Because of the brotherly shove. So what they did, they make it a point of emphasis. So now all of a sudden we're seeing all these offsides. In the last 10, 12 years, there was 18 offensive offsides calls on offense. There's 19 already this year.
Jeez Louise. Yeah, just a couple of weeks ago, it was 11 or something.
So over a 10-year period, let's just say there was 18, and now we've got 19 called already. That's just when the league says, hey, look, this is a point like DPI, ICT,
helmet.
Whatever they put out there and say, they send those videos out and we show you guys, right, in a team meeting. Here's the points of emphasis for this year. They are not letting this go.
Who's it normally, Troy Vincent or the head ref? I forget who is normally reading it off, what the point of emphasis is. It's always very well received.
Yeah,
it's always very well received.
I think Troy's voice is over that.
Yeah, there's a couple videos that get sent in that every team meeting loves hearing. You guys do a great job over there. Thank you for all the hard work. Full production. You're talking like
really?
Yeah, in a studio booth voice.
Green screen.
Good, lit up pretty good.
Wow.
You know, like full. The editing of the plays. NFL Films is editing the plays with the voiceover. It's like very, never sees the light of day. Only seen in team meeting rooms.
So it's
and
not-
the response is always the same. What? Why? A lot of that. But it's very well done, the video.
So it's not the one when we saw the point of emphasis video or whatever it was. We showed it up here, and I think it was Troy talking over it. Or no, it was Rich talking over it.
Yeah, it was Rich Eisen, actually. They hired a talent to read over those videos. They do it professional. We appreciate it. But I do like that Jason Kelsey just went out there and said, it was 100% me. Even Travis was like, you guys are screwed, man. They're trying to take it like that's because that's what it felt like.
Stop
whenever
it.
they called it. Yeah, no, my fault.
Don't do
completely.
that.
Those eyebrows.
That's an
he
old
has.
lineman.
Oh, yeah.
Huh?
I think that is why he is the world's sexiest man. I think he has the world's greatest eyebrows.
I love his humility, too. I like the fact that he just owned it. They're still in it, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
They are still very much in it for potential home field advantage. Let me tell you who's going to take that.
Who's that?
On the NFC side. And I know that I get a chance to go on First Take on Tuesdays. And it's like, hey, Pat, we want to, talk about who's your team to overtake the 49ers? Who's your team to do this? And I like giving love to everybody.
Sure.
I do. I appreciate the hell out of the Detroit Lions.
Yes.
I love Philadelphia Eagles. I haven't given up on them. How could you give up on a guy like Jason Kelsey and Nick Sirianni? Couldn't.
Cowboys?
Especially with all the talent they have. Love them. Dallas Cowboys, Big Mike. Love them.
Pittsburgh guy.
But this Niners team is playing exactly like they were playing last year going into the playoffs. They were a buzzsaw. They figured it out. They were absolute wagons until the NFC Championship when the Philadelphia Eagles beat them. Not Philadelphia Eagles' fault that they injured quarterback, linebacker, defensive end, another quarterback, another quarterback. That is not – the Eagles played a great football game, and the Eagles are incredible. But this Niners team, same pieces, all back, playing better than they've ever played. And then they got a quarterback – who's going to win the MVP? Okay, this guy's going to win the MVP. I got some interesting stats from Hembo here, okay?
Here we go.
I was like, Hembo, please explain to me, like I'm a doofus, why Brock Purdy should be the MVP. Because I am sick of hearing people talk about why he shouldn't be the MVP. Yeah. Well, he said, Pat, let's break it down. There's two prevailing arguments as to why Brock Purdy should not win the MVP, is what Hembo said. One, he's a product of Kyle Shanahan's offense. Well, let's look for most yards per attempt in a season by a quarterback under Kyle Shanahan in the history. Oh, Matt Ryan had 9.3 yards per attempt. He won the MVP. That was in 2016. 2023, Brock Purdy, 9.9 yards. So he's throwing the ball further than anybody in the history of the offense. Let's go most yards per play in a season by an offense under Shanahan. Well, 2016, 6.7 yards per play. That was when Matt Ryan won the MVP. This year, 6.8 yards.
Ooh.
So Brock Purdy is he is operating the Kyle Shanahan offense better than anybody, including an MVP. Yeah. Now let's look at some other stats, shall we?
Hell yeah.
By the way, we don't remember anybody saying like, oh, he had Julio Jones whenever he won that. How about this? 48% of passing yardage in the NFL is gained after the catch. 48, that's the average. Brock Purdy's at 46% this season. Less than average.
The league average?
Okay.
Less than the league average in Yak. Yak, the last three MVP seasons, Patrick Mahomes, 53%. Aaron Rodgers, 54%. Aaron Rodgers, 51%. Brock Purdy, currently at 46% Yak, below league average. So enough with the conversation. Brock's the MVP, I think. And this Niners team is the wagon in the NFL right now. We all understand it. Hour two will be on the other side. We got James Cook of the Buffalo Bills. Here we go. Speaking of a wagon, joining us at 120. We'll have AJ Hawk. We'll have some more Coach P thoughts on what's going on in Pittsburgh with Coach Tomlin and everybody. Can't wait for that chatter. Cannot wait to talk about the KZ suspension. And what's going on in the game. We got a good one for you. Be a friend, tell a friend something nice. Might change their life. Take three.
Hello and welcome to Office Championship Wrestling live in Indianapolis, Indiana. Tonight we have a straight to hell match in which the devil will battle against our office wrestler, Dylan Boston. You might be wondering how we got here. Let's find out right now.
And now we have to make a deal with the devil.
Yeah, no big deal. Classic trial by combat situation. We got our champion, Dylan Bostic. All he's got to do, win the match, 1, 2, 3, and we're home safe.
The only man that would take the job to protect us from the devil himself, Dylan Boston.
Like you mentioned, Pat, there's probably about 5 or 6 other guys we'd rather have in this position. But we'll take Bostic, I guess.
Not only are all of our souls on the line, the Office Championship Wrestling Championship, presented by Natural Light, is also on the line.
Jesus, the devil's trying to put Bostic straight to hell!
I do not want to go
Good
to
God,
hell!
no!
Don't do
Good
it!
God, no! Come on, Bostic, man!
Oh, no! Oh, my...
I'll see you in hell, Pat. The goddamn Easter Bunny's out here! What the hell's he doing here?
The Easter Bunny is obviously here to help Dylan Bostic. Wait a minute. No!
Oh, no!
The Easter Bunny's been on the devil's side this whole time. Jesus Christ! Jesus Christ! Jesus
What the hell's
Christ!
Jesus Christ doing here?
The power of Christ is compelling Dylan Bostic.
Look at this, Pat! Jesus Christ is bringing Bostic back to life! Jesus is going insane! And now Bostic's kicking wholesale ass in the ring!
Jesus Christ has come to help Dylan Bostic defeat the devil and defeat the Easter Bunny. What's going to happen here?
Good God Almighty, it looks like he's going up in the scissor lift!
Jesus is lifting the scissor lift. Jesus is now telling Bostic to come down.
Don't do it, Bostic! Don't do it! Oh my God!
Oh,
Bostic's dead! He's dead! You can't tell from home, but that scissor lift is about 8 stories up, Pat!
80 feet in the air. Oh, wait. He's tuning up the bed. The devil.
Super kick! Into the casket! The devil goes down! The devil goes down!
Jesus shuts the casket.
And
Straight back to
that's
hell. The devil goes straight back to hell where he belongs.
it! With the assist from Jesus Christ of Nazareth!
Dylan Bostic saves the PMI office's souls and wins the OCW championship.
The following program is a collection of stooges talking about happenings in the sports world. It is meant to be comedic informative. The opinions expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect the beliefs of their peers, their boss, or ESPN. There may be some cuss words because that's how humans in the real world talk. If you are young, please seek permission before watching any further.
Hey,
What?
let's go.
This show stinks, and the fact that you listen, we are very, very thankful for. The all-time leading tackler for the Green Bay Packers, you pig!
Damn it!
Be a friend, tell a friend something nice could change their life.
Sport!
Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to our humble abode, the Thunderdome, on this Coach 'em Up Thursday, December 21st, 2023. Sports 2 start. It's December 21st.
Football! It's crazy.
Yeah.
Boys, it's Christmas.
Winter solstice.
Merry Christmas, everybody. The Talks Table is here at Boss Connor and at Ty Schmidt. Con man, what'd you say there?
Winter solstice. Days from here on out until, I believe, March 21st. Who cares? Days from here on out start to get longer. More sun going forward from this day until June 21st. Boom, there it is.
So this is technically the first day of winter, right? That is how it is described?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Okay, welcome to winter. We did it.
Welcome.
Winter's coming. We're here.
Winter is here.
Playoff implication football is
Yeah.
here. One half of the hammer.
Dahn.
Cowboys Tone Diggs is here. Any fun facts about December 21st, Tone?
December 21st is my 271st favorite day of the year.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
270
That's
before.
pretty good. I mean, there's what is that, 95 that are worse
Yeah.
than that, and I think we're all thinking the same ones. So I
We get the
appreciate.
off season. I'll list them all out.
Okay, sounds good. We'll keep that promise true, I hope.
Write that
A
down.
man who coached for 36 years in the college football world, 18 of them, and 18 in the NFL has joined us. He is 9-4-1 now, picking against the spread on Thursday Night Football. Ladies and gentlemen, Coach Chuck.
How bad, Coach? Wow.
Huh? We have a little clip, too, from last week. You basically called what was happening. Before we get to that, though, we have a man who is waiting in an attic in Ohio who needs to be heard.
Mm-hmm.
He's been chomping at the bit to get on the microphone today. Has some breaking news for us, this man. Though.
Wow.
Whoa.
He's a college football national champion, a Super Bowl champion, a Ryder Cup winner, a COVID survivor, father of 10, current president of Ohio. Ladies and gentlemen, AJ Hawk.
Yeah, Hopper.
AJ! chomping at the bit all morning. I seen the texts. I felt the energy.
Uh-oh.
Go ahead and let it all out. Aaron Rodgers
This old bit.
back on
Yep.
the active roster yesterday.
Uh-huh.
Go ahead and tell us what that means, AJ.
Yeah, here we go. This old bit again. I have news to break every single day when I come on here. Maybe I do. I don't know, but I don't think I have anything to break when it comes to the Aaron Rodgers front. But does it seem weird to you that he's active roster, but they also said he's not going to play? I assume, being into conspiracies like he is, he thinks, hey, something could be up here.
So the C word in me certainly makes me wonder, like, and I do not abuse the fact that I do have his phone number, okay, over the last couple of years.
Sure.
We've become friends.
I had to send him a nice message from a fan this morning. Obviously.
Bingo. So I do not send messages for information. Now, AJ does know everything
Yes, he does.
happening
Always.
at all times.
Yep.
And he's had a couple very long off seasons.
Yeah.
You know, because when Aaron went in the darkness, our show was still live.
That's right. We were in the light.
You know? But wouldn't it make sense if you're Aaron Rodgers, just the type of human he is, just so he could potentially say, oh, is that right? You know, to some people. Imagine if he played in a game that did not matter for playoff implications at all, earlier than anybody in the history of an Achilles tear has ever come back before, just so he could go, interesting. Oh, this guy, prima donna, asshole, bad teammate. Okay. Just wants to play ball because I'm able to play ball again. Oh, this guy didn't tear his Achilles. He's not. It was all just for show. Oh, is that right? Here's the scan. And here's me throwing for 3 touchdowns against Commanders on Christmas Eve.
Ooh.
You know, it's the C word in me, okay, is hard not to think about that immediately upon him going to the active roster. But then, like, the adult in me is like, that would make no sense for anybody if he did that, other than just to say, oh, is that right? So, AJ, my C conspiracy
Sure.
is that misguided? Do you think that is stupid for me to think about? Do you think there has been any chatter for him to say, you know what, I don't care if it doesn't mean, or is this all just so he can practice? Because if he's put off the active roster, he heads to the IR immediately for the rest of the season. He's not allowed to practice. Is that a more seemingly obvious reasoning for this entire move for the New York Jets to make it this time?
I think so. I think you might be, on the right path. I don't know exactly how the whole situation played out, but I assume this was all part of the plan, right? Where, hey, when it's time for you to practice, we're going to have to activate you in order to get you on the field. We can't just throw you out there if you're not on the active roster. But I do not see him stepping on the field. I feel like when he was on Tuesday, it was pretty apparent he's not playing football.
Well, the issue was all year he said, if we're still in it, if we're still in it, I will obviously risk it. And I think he even said it doesn't have to be 100% if we're still in it. Being medically cleared is not 100%. Being medically cleared, I think I said 65, 70%, 75%. That is like being medically, I can come back and play football. He was going to do that if they were mathematically. That was always the conversation. But then with how loud it got, in the last week, because they have a 0% chance of making the playoffs now. So all these people that are like, oh, this was a song and dance, it's like, what? This is a much different situation than what the situation would have had to have been for him to come back and play. He's kind of laid that out the entire year.
Yeah, exactly. And he's kind of stood by that the entire time. And last week, him being on the sidelines doing calf raises definitely is a big thing just because the strain versus stress conversation, but the conspiracy.
Stretch
versus
stress.
Versus stress, not
That guy in the
strain.
Secret Service right there? Go back to that clip. Is there a guy, that white-haired guy? Is he in the Secret Service? What's that? It's not normal security.
A team doctor?
Press play.
No, he's not a team doctor. The guy's watching the crowd.
Lower left is who he's talking about there.
Service,
To the right of the guy in the neon.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right here. Let's just get. Maybe he is a doctor. He's got an armband.
He's a doctor. He just saw something.
My bad. Right. I saw him right here. I'm like, oh, what is Aaron hiring Secret Service?
Yeah, there's a lot. Well, there's a lot of stuff to look at in the crowd in Miami. We all know that. But the conspiracy theorist and myself would say that there's a situation where the Jets play the Patriots at the end, and obviously the conversation around Bill Belichick. Aaron would be the last quarterback to play Bill Belichick as the coach.
Okay, so you're cooking it up even more. Not just Christmas Eve.
No. He's not playing Christmas Eve. He's not playing next week. But last week, you're not going to really be doing any football activities for about 4 or 5
Would you want your
months.
first game back at quarterback with a brand new team to be against a Bill Belichick? His potential last game?
Yep.
No.
However, in this year for the New England Patriots, I don't think it's his last game. But if it is, Bill probably on the way out, hey, Aaron, I got so much respect for you when you were in Green Bay. I came out before the game to meet you. But how about today? I'll just, we'll sit back and base cover 3, cover
really?
2.
Lame duck.
You have some fun. We need one more loss to lock in the number 2 pick. You go out there. We won't even blitz you.
It feels like that's something Bill Belichick would do. It would be wild if he went back on the field. Obviously, it would have been wild regardless. But them not having any chance of making the playoffs, certainly a bummer on the entire fairy tale story it was supposed to be, even though it was all made up. It was all made up.
Didn't tear it.
That's what.
He didn't tear it. I mean, he'd have came back 3 weeks ago. Like, why would you wait this long if you didn't tear it?
Yeah, why would you wait until there was 0% chance?
First round pick. So they can keep their first round pick, top 10 pick.
I mean, what a phenomenal storyline that has gone through there. We appreciate being a part of the entire story. Him getting back up there, guy lost his job because he goes down to practice squad.
He did, yep.
But his contract guaranteed, though, because he is a 6-year player, so he's already vested, so his contract has already been guaranteed forever. And they're probably going to end up moving him right back up in a procedural move. So this is just a move that had to be made. But, boy, people are not happy with Aaron. He's taking this guy's job. They weren't happy about it at all, which seems to be the story of Aaron Rodgers' life. Let's talk about tonight's game, kicking off Week 16, AJ. We have a tale of the tape here, and whenever we look at it, I don't know if it's easy or not easy to pick the game. Because if you think about the Rams, 8-5-1 against the spread. Not supposed to be worth a damn. No. So that potentially is why they're 8-5-1 too, because the way the books are looking at them or scoring them early in the season might be vastly different than what they are now. They might have stole some wins when everybody thought they were going to be cropped. And then you think about the Saints, they're going to win the NFC South. Derek Carr's the answer. Remember, he was potentially going to be a Jet, and then he was potentially going to be somewhere else. Right. He got screwed with the Raiders, which we agree. He wasn't even allowed in the building towards the end of his stint there. Shout out to Josh McDaniels. So he goes down there 4-9-1 against the spread, underperforming in the public perception's eyes. Then turnover margin, well, the Rams, they're -2. Saints +5. They got championship defense, don't they, Coach, down there?
Yeah, they take the ball away at a high rate.
Always have, if you think back. That defense has always been something special. It's just, can you get an offense to fit in there? Points per game, about the same, 22.1, 23.4. Can easy come, easy go, especially whenever you got Matthew Stafford spinning it on one side. Points per game allowed, 19.1 for that defense for the Saints. 22.1 yards per game, 334 to 357. Yards per game allowed, 336 to 311. So obviously, defensive side, the Saints are much better than the Rams. That's what this tale of the tape says. Do you think Matthew Stafford and the boys offensively have enough to top what the defense allegedly isn't able to do for them, AJ?
I'm going to wait to hear Chuck kind of break it down later in the program to see exactly where I'm going to go with this. But when I look at all those stats, the only thing that I really care about, I think the turnover margin is always huge. I like looking at that. And the points per game scored and how much you allow. Like, when people talk about like defense, like, oh, man, these guys give up so many yards or whatever. Like, who cares? How many points do you give up? We know everyone's going to get yards. So I care about how many points you give up and can you take the ball away. And the Saints are doing a pretty decent job of that right now.
Chuck has the stats. He just found it on his note sheet here.
Yeah, red zone defense, AJ. New Orleans is 13th, and the Rams are 12th.
Wow. Oh,
right so
bend but don't break.
They both do a good job of keeping guys out. You know, the other thing, would you consider this, AJ, and guys, playoff atmosphere?
Oh, yeah.
This is a playoff game, right?
Yes.
Well, maybe not in that stadium, but yeah.
Should
the
be.
Players, yeah.
Blueface is going to be throwing
if it's not
dead
raining,
presidents.
It'll be dry. Hey, so how many playoff wins does Derek Carr have?
None.
I believe 0.
1?
0.
0. Yeah.
Jeez.
Real.
How many does Matthew Stafford have, AJ?
Well, at least one Super
Bowl. 4.
He's got he's got a Super Bowl under his belt, too.
He's 4-3 and has a Super Bowl ring.
Wow. So you're saying playoff game tonight, too?
I'm just saying it's good. Yeah.
Oh, no.
I think whoever wins is still in the hunt. And whoever loses probably making plans for early January.
Hey, Chuck, last week, AJ, I don't know if you heard this out of Chuck whenever he was making his pick, but when he was selling the Raiders pick, you know, which he got the most passionate he has been about any pick ever.
By far.
This is what he actually said while making the pick about last week's game. If we all remember what happened between the Raiders and the Chargers, he picked the Raiders, and this is what he said the Raiders need to do on Thursday Night Football.
You're 5-8. You can bury these guys.
Come on.
Bury them.
Put their program done. They'll be done.
Done.
They're right on the verge. All you got to do is start fast, punch these right in the face.
And then boom, it's over.
And then go.
Get them out.
All right. It was, remember, 24-0 or something like that. 42, whatever it was at the half. It was It was a start fast, and then you can end their program. They fired the GM and the head coach the next day. Yeah. You have the vision.
Yeah.
You're a prophet last week. Are we riding high still at this moment? We feel good.
Absolutely.
Let's go, dude.
I feel really good about
Going
this.
into the holiday?
Yeah.
Huge news.
We're riding the Chuck train? I'm
Yeah.
pumped about that. I'm excited. What's Zeke's there? Club bar.
Lebanon. Troy, Glendenning.
That's his bar?
That's their bar up there, family bar.
That's awesome. If you can stop by Lebanon, Indiana ever, it's way out there.
It is
You're
way
not going
out
to
there.
find it. Let's talk about another game that's happening this weekend. Potentially a Super Bowl preview, AJ. Potentially a Super Bowl preview.
Potentially.
If you look at the two teams at the top of the conferences right now, you got the Niners and then who?
Baltimore.
Oh, who's playing this weekend? The Niners against who?
I think the Ravens?
Baltimore.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
Thank you, NFL. Thank you, Week 16. We got a chance to preview what's going to potentially be going down in February in Las Vegas. But right now, Lamar Jackson's being asked about this being a Super Bowl preview. Listen to his answer, AJ.
Thought this could be a Super Bowl preview. What do you think about that?
Super Bowl is in February. We're in December right now. We got to focus on Monday night. I'm not worried about what people say.
Oh, he's locked in. He's not thinking about the Super Bowl.
he's dialed in,
And if you start thinking a little bit more, Lamar has only had one playoff win, right?
Correct.
Yep.
He beat the Tennessee Titans, which was obviously a rivalry there for a bit. But this weekend, we get an opportunity now to really test the top of this thing. And I know Lamar doesn't want to think about down the road because they got a lot they have to do and they have not done. So I understand that he's staying focused, and I appreciate his answer. But these are the two, AJ. And what a Monday night treat we have here, Week 16.
Yeah, we do. And I love Lamar's response there because it's true. Yeah, could this be a Super Bowl matchup? Cool, yeah, it could. But obviously it's December. This is not the Super Bowl. If we do meet again in the Super Bowl, it will be much different by then. But I think this is cool to see both these teams get a feel and test themselves. Like the Niners, obviously, if they go out there and they beat down the Ravens, they can be like, okay, yeah, of course, we are who we thought we are. And I think the Ravens, the same thing. They get to test themselves against this great Niners team.
A little bit of a heat check call, man, huh?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, the best part about this is just going to be Lamar versus the Niners D-line. Like, because obviously when Lamar's running around doing what Lamar does, it's the greatest thing of all time. But then you look on the other side, and it's like the jungle cat Bosa that you've talked about all the time. He takes up 5 yards when he's lining up on the line of scrimmage. You add Chase Young, and they got Hargrave and Armstead in the middle. It really is going to be an incredible matchup in that aspect.
That's a great point because those guys missed last week, right? And Arizona ran for 234 yards on the Niners. 7.8 per carry. 7.8 per carry. Kyler Murray, when he took off, again, to your point about Lamar, he averaged, I think, a little over 6 yards per carry. So I can't wait. Ravens got number one rush offense in the National Football League. Arizona just did that to that 49er defense. You know they're going to go in there and try to play keep away and run the ball right down these guys' throats.
And there's a chance the Ravens keep up with them physicality.
Yes.
The Niners bully teams after. No, I'm not. You're right. The Ravens have the making of a team that can keep up with the Niners' physicality because the Niners' hangover goes like a week or two after you play the Niners.
Yes.
You are so banged up mentally and physically that you're losing the next week. It's the Niners' hangover for real. The Ravens team tries to do the same exact thing. I like the matchup. I am pumped about it. Kyle Hamilton was speaking to the media, and he was asked about Brock Purdy and being underdogs and everything like that. Here is Kyle Hamilton, who I think a lot of people are quickly saying one of the best safeties in the league, I think. Not just like young guy who's good. I think people are saying like whole league guy who is really good. Here's him talking about feeling a little disrespected about what's going on.
I think yes and no. I think internally we don't feel that way. Externally, I don't know what it is, but whether it's the lack of primetime games we've got or whatever, but I think the 11 and 3s are not created equal right now in terms of the 49ers versus us, and we feel a little disrespected by that. I feel like we are the best team in the league, and we got an opportunity in front of the country to show it.
I love that. He said internally we don't feel that way, but also, we feel like we're the best team in the league. I don't know what we're talking about. And then here's him talking about what the quarterback of the team that everybody says is the best in the league.
I mean, the word around the league is he's a system quarterback, and I just think that's not true. Just from what I've seen, he's making every throw that you can make as a quarterback. It's on time, on target, makes good decisions. He's mobile, and he's got a great cast around him at the same time. But, I mean, he's really good, and props to him for He's a pretty cool story of what he's done now, and he's
pretty cool.
an MVP race. So it's gonna be a good challenge, but I'm excited to do it.
A lot of respect, maybe disrespect, an absence of respect. There's maybe a thought about maybe not. Two teams think they're the best in the league. What a Monday night, AJ.
Yeah, but two teams think they're the best team in the league, but most people publicly are crowning the Niners, obviously, as that team. And like we just heard there, the Ravens are feeling it. They understand. And there's a lot of power in that when you can get pissed off and know, hey, no one gives us a chance, us against the world, all of that stuff. Sometimes you can use that to your advantage.
Harbaugh playoff record, how many, what's the?
Nick told me today it was one playoff win in the last 9 years, I believe.
And then for the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Their last one was 7 years ago, I believe.
Oh, so you were looking for stats just to make you feel good.
No. Sure. That was not me.
Okay, but I do appreciate that because the staple that is Baltimore and how much respect we all have for them, it's like playoff success has not been as easily found as we would all expect. But this year, it's probably going to be different. It feels like this team is different, Chuck, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you talk about well-rounded offense, defense, special teams. You mentioned Kyle Hamilton. The way they use Kyle Hamilton on defense, he's got to have such a big brain football-wise. He can cover, he can blitz, he's great in the box against the run. You don't find safeties that can do all that anymore. They're either like, we say, hey, he's a box safety, and we don't want him anywhere near man-to-man coverage or deep, or he's, a deep safety, whatever. He does it all. He plays multiple positions, safety and base. They have a big nickel package where he plays the nickel back, and then when they go to sub and they bring in Millette, number 10, obvious pass downs, he's playing deep. So
Kyle Hamilton's a dog. He's got long arms, too. His arms I saw him reach down the entire offensive line and grab a guy on a run play. It was like, this dude is everywhere. What a ball player.
And both teams are like pretty healthy. I think that's the biggest thing with the Ravens. Like when I hear that stat about them not winning a playoff game in the last 9 years, it's like, well, usually they're dealing with, 5, 6, at least one. Usually Lamar is one of those. Lamar's, he's been incredibly healthy. And of course, Keaton Mitchell and Dobbins, but also for the Niners, Hufanga, like they have had big injuries, but at least like the core wise, when you look at it, I mean, look at the linebackers. It's Roquan Smith and Patrick Queen on one side, and then Fred Warner and Drake Greenlaw on the other. Like at every kind of position for both teams, the matchups are just so awesome.
We're lucky to have it. It is a Super Bowl preview, potentially. Sorry, Lamar.
Truly.
I know you're only thinking about December right now, and that's how you should be thinking, but the rest of us are thinking about, is this the Vegas matchup? Now, remember, Chargers still in this thing.
Yeah.
Okay? Chargers still in this thing.
Good value.
Hey, now, you got Gift Smith, okay, doing his thing.
Right.
And you got that other gentleman named who's doing the interim GM.
Ed Football.
Yep. Mr. Football's taking over the thing up there. It is the odds are let's talk about another gate happening up in New England.
Well,
again,
what?
I mean,
there was news broken on the internet that surprised nobody
That's right.
with how things have happened around New England. There was a report that the balls were actually underinflated for the kickers this past weekend between the Kansas City Chiefs and the New England Patriots. Now, obviously, that's not going to steal the headlines. Okay, people were talking about Kadarius Toney somehow having a ball bounce on the top of his head and going to the other team's hands the other way.
Bigger deal.
And they're talking about Travis Kelce getting triple teamed and not getting as many fantasy points as everybody expects or wants him to.
Yep.
And Patrick Mahomes showing emotion on the sideline. I want to talk about what is the problem in New England.
Okay.
Why are you singling out the kickers and attacking them? Let me tell you how the K-ball thing works. There's 7 of them going into each game. 7 of them. This is brand new, out of the box, 7 of them. They're numbered. Week 15-1. WK 15-2. WK 15-3, all the way to 7.
Sure.
Okay? 3 through 7 do not matter. Let me tell you why. Because you're given 30 minutes before the game, an equipment manager, one person representing each team, under the guidance of a referee, where you're allowed to have one brush and one towel, and you're allowed to break in the balls, okay, for 30 minutes while you're being watched. Not allowed to utilize any extracurriculars, only sweat, maybe a little spit, side of brush. Some equipment managers do well, and you got 30 minutes. Now, our guy, Frog, absolute dog. Now, Frog would have much better Christmas maybe than he would beforehand because of what he did. But if you're able to break those balls in, you're talking an extra 7 to 10 yards broken in balls, as opposed to balls 3 through 7 that are fresh out of a box and cooked. Normally, each equipment manager would take one ball. We got one ball. We're odd. You're the home team. You're 1. We're 2. Sweet. Those will be the balls we'll use. We'll break them in. We'll do our thing. Sometimes another team's kicker or punter will say, hey, our guy sucks. Okay, our guy sucks. So we'll say, all right, we'll just use ball 1 the entire time today. No big deal. There has been times where kickers have screwed over other kickers and like told K-ball person that was holding them to throw in ball 4 or ball 5 for like a game winner. And the football gods have come back and ruined those people's lives. That is something that has taken place. So the balls are a big deal. They're also very well known that these are the balls. There's a K-ball person that regulates them. There's only a few people that touch them, and it's the game. So for the New England Patriots, yet again,
here we go,
to be in a conversation of zeroing in on a target and trying to kill them, like you guys did to Harrison Butker and Tommy Townsend. Okay, Harrison Butker hadn't missed a kick all year. Tommy Townsend, one of the best in the NFL. First half, these guys aren't having the performances that we're used to. Harrison Butker misses his first kick of the year.
Yeah.
First kick of the year. Ball goes to the right, and they closed in that stadium. It's a lot easier with the wind now than it was like 5 years ago. Butker doesn't miss that kick ever. Good snap, good hold, the kick, high, and then that thing slices out to the right. Wow. Actual movement from left to right. Wow. Then let's go to the Patriots kicker, shall we? Now, this guy misses a lot of kicks, but in the first half, boom, pulls this thing left. He misses the whole net. He misses the whole net. The whole net.
Yeah, that one got pushed.
So I'm not saying, okay, and that thing's still moving in the air.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not saying that Bill Belichick knew that this was happening.
Sure.
Well,
because why would he send his kicker out, who is known to miss for a 40-some yarder with bad balls?
Love Chad.
But people need to know the operations of kicking, okay? So if you're an NFL kicker, that means you have a strong enough leg to be able to break through the barrier of the leather of the football. Normally pumped at like 13.1 PSI. This one was down at 11 PSI.
Oh my God.
So it's much softer. Kickers do not want a soft ball. Okay, that is not what kickers want at all. Now, if you do not have a strong leg and you don't have the ability to crack into the bladder, the air bladder inside of it through the leather, you will not want a hard ball because you're not able to indent it, okay? So you don't want the ball too hard, like a rock, because then you can't crack it, but you certainly want it as hard as possible if you're somebody who has a strong leg. If you have a strong leg and the ball's flat, that means your foot is breaking into the ball, okay? The ball is wrapping around your foot longer.
Yeah.
And then as it's being projected off your foot, it can... Okay, like it did with Harrison Butker.
Sure.
Known massive leg. Or like Chad Ryland, hang on your foot a little bit too long. You're a righty, you spin, that thing hooks to the left.
Yeah.
This was an outright attack on the kickers and the punters. And for punters, the ball just, you're not going to be able to turn it over.
Yeah.
Just like baseball players who are good hitters, they want that ball coming in harder. Because what do they say, Tone?
Harder it comes in, harder it goes out.
Same thing with kicking with the balls. So quarterbacks want a softer ball. Kickers want a hard ball. And somehow you guys do things that only benefit you guys. And I'm not saying it's organizationally, but somebody's breaking into that building and trying to screw people. Yeah. And I don't like it one bit at all.
Well, I mean, it didn't help us. We missed a field goal as well. And the funny thing about...
Yeah, but you guys always miss them.
Yeah, okay.
right.
But once again,
Bingo.
just like Bill with, Rodgers, we're not trying to do that. Also, Chad Ryland, there's a massive difference between those two missed field goals. Bucker's turned right a little, and then it kept going straight on that angle, and it hit the net. Chad Ryland, as he does, he missed the entire net behind the field goal post. That's going to happen. Is that 11 PSI number actually real? Because if it is, and the referee picks up a ball that's supposed to be 2 PSI points after, that's on him. Now, also,
I would assume long snapper's the one that felt it, and also when you kick
how'd they get caught?
Punter, but as soon as you, I mean, there's been a couple balls that have snuck their ways into games that either had like a little bit of a leak or something. Now, I don't know if I could do it now, 6 years removed from it all, but as soon as you touch a ball, I knew exactly.
Like Giannis.
Exactly.
So they switched the second half. Did they switch the balls then? The kicking
Halftime,
balls?
they got to figure it out. I would assume they just inflated balls 1 and 2.
Is it possible that a ball loses that much air, Pat? Is it possible that a ball loses 2 pounds
Especially
of
with
air?
the weather. Bill Nye, the science guy, said he took it into account.
Yeah, we went into this in the first Deflategate, and actually information was released after the punishment of Deflategate that they weren't deflated balls. It was the weather. But again, beside the point. point, but yeah, that can happen. I mean, we got to come in here and blow up these goddamn basketballs every
These balls
other day.
coming fresh out of a box, okay? They're being regulated by refs. I don't know how it continues to happen up there because anybody that's around balls literally knows.
Mm-hmm.
You know as soon as you feel. What was the question?
Like aren't they under lock and key? Like you said,
Bingo.
30. Like so, and he's sitting there watching them do it, right? So how do they get air in? How do they get air out?
There's a chance New England Patriots are getting painted in a bad narrative here.
All you need is a little needle. No one could even see it. All you need is one little needle and just jab that sucker in there a little bit.
Yeah, because if you do that's about half PSI right there.
Exactly.
No one's going to see that. No one can see you do that.
But why would they want to do? They would want to tell.
Well, Bill slipped
They would
the
want to
cake.
tell Bill then.
It's got to be weather. It has to be weather.
It's their own kicking ball. It's not like Bill's walking across like, hey, where's your guys' kicking ball? I just want to, see it for a second. Let's see how it feels.
Did they check them both right after both misses? Is that how it came to light?
They're both in the first half. Yeah, I would assume punter and long snapper were like, hey, those balls are not. Those balls are not NFL balls. What are we doing here? That was why I hate Walt. That's why I hate Walt. Put ball 7 in. Walt Anderson when we were in London. Yeah. I caught it and I saw week 7 and I felt it. I'm like, what is this? So I go to the sideline. I go, Frog, were they not let you break it in balls? He goes, that was ball 7. Frog was all, I'll talk to him. I'll talk to him. And I'm like, Walt Anderson screwing me, this guy. Because allegedly because the head ref has to sign off on it at the end. So I guess there's a story potentially that Walt only signed off on later balls because the balls were too broken in potentially. Which our guy Frog,
That's what he does.
He was the best in the league. We're talking about sweating onto it, using his sweat like from his head, dropping onto it. He come out of there drenched. It's like, literally as he comes out, "Atta baby,
He was the best. You saw him doing the quarterback balls during the week, right?
Unbelievable.
So how come?
Phenomenal commitment.
I was going to say, because obviously the quarterback balls and the regular game balls you get to do ahead of the time during the week. Why is K balls day of?
Well, so there was a kicker who put the ball, what is it? Abuse leads to restrictions.
Sure.
Okay, so there used to be
Big
K balls, there used to be quarterback balls, and the K balls were beat to hell. Like you could bring your own K balls, and as long as they had all the laces in line and they looked like a Duke, you could do whatever you want. I've heard stories of these glorious balls that they used to kick that were just like basically Aussie rules football balls or like rugby balls.
Yeah.
They've been beat up for 15 weeks at practice and in games. Those things are, you got
Should be able to kick them. Why would they take that away from kickers? Why not? Let's give the kickers every opportunity to make kicks.
So I think what happened was, and I haven't researched it enough, but this is just like the known story. I think Mitch Berger, was the name, Mitch Berger, shout out. Absolute dog, never got a ball.
Donnie's dad.
I think it was either Mitch Berger or somebody. I forget, maybe Todd. I don't know. There was somebody in, that they were putting a ball in like the dryer. Okay. They like found an extra thing, but the ball was so fat and it was so dull. There was something that took place where Brett Favre ended up having to throw it.
Yeah.
So it was like, was it going to be a field goal? Was it not going to be a field goal? And like the K ball ended up during an actual play, and there was a big to do.
I think you threw a pick.
Yeah, there was a big to do about it. Like it was a massive ordeal. So then they regulated it allegedly like the next offseason. They're like brand new balls. So then guys for like 3 years were kicking brand new balls right out of the box. Like it would arrive at the game, they would open it up out of the box, and they would give it to the ref, and then the ref would throw it to you for kickoff. Like that is how regular. Very happy I was not in those times.
Yeah.
I would have not been mentally tough enough for that. But then enough people bitched, and then they got the 30-minute grace period to break these balls in as opposed to fresh out of the box, and that just kind of became the thing. But yeah, it all started with a very beat up, broken in ball just making its way into an actual real play, and then all hell broke loose, which is always going to be the case. Anytime you take something too far,
Yep.
then it's going to go back the other way.
Can't abuse it.
But those balls, want them hard, AJ. You want those K balls hard.
Don't you want it fat? Like, don't you want to kick a nice fat ball as well?
Fat as hell, and hard. But not, there's some balls that are too hard, Like there's some equipment managers come in there, we want that thing, pretty hard or whatever. And they've never done it before, and it actually shows up, and I'm like, I get what you're saying. I understand how we said what we said. But also, I don't know if anybody's going to be able to break this one. So there's just a couple of those. Balls are flying, baby. Balls are absolutely flying. Warm-up kicks for the olds, normally with a flat ball, so it doesn't hurt the quad as you're waking it up. Vinatieri would kick a flat ball for like 20 minutes or so before days he would kick. He had like a 45 to an hour routine that he would do towards the end.
Stretching and everything.
Every single day. just to kick like one ball.
Jeez.
His commitment he was a machine. Absolute machine.
He was doing the whole body guru stuff, right?
Yeah, he had.
Yeah.
I think he was doing the TV12
Oh, yeah, the pliability.
Look at him now. The dude is jacked right now.
Jocked.
I saw him 2 weeks ago. He's getting bigger. He's getting
that anvil.
So awesome. Power lifter.
He did. He tried to break the anvil.
Yeah. Shook it.
So jacked.
Speaking of the anvil, don't look now. Okay? Don't look now. It's a holiday season. You probably want to be distracted. You don't want to wake up to the facts. Okay, I understand that.
Yeah.
Especially when you're talking about little old Indianapolis, like the Colts. Second hottest team in the NFL, AJ.
Whoa.
Second hottest team in the NFL. Thank you to James Palmer for doing some real journalism and looking things up. Only the 49ers, 6-0, they're wagging, which is why we feel the way we feel about the 49ers. Have a better record than the Colts in the last 6 weeks, 5-1. Huh? 5-1. And the one loss, not great. Against the Bengals, Jake Browning's a dog.
Sure.
Jake Browning is a beast.
Stud.
They did what they had to do. Now, their fans were certainly a part of that as well. It was a great atmosphere over there. But this Colts team, we might actually, hey, when do you get hot? The right time. Why not the Indianapolis Colts?
November, December ball.
We just kicked 2 guys off the team?
Yes, we did. Isaiah McKenzie and AD.
They wouldn't say why.
Yeah, so I assume.
Tony Brown.
There it is.
I haven't heard.
I reached out. They did not tell me. They said, well, we'll talk about it offseason or something. Certainly warranted, though. I'm like,
yeah, what could it be to boot it off the team? Yeah, you don't see that happen very often.
They cleaned out their locker.
Yeah.
Suspended the rest of the season, but then they cleaned out their locker as well, which is a statement. Isaiah McKenzie.
It's good culture.
Isaiah McKenzie is a lightning rod.
Yeah.
Killed the Patriots.
Yeah, he's a player. I mean, it's like, so I appreciate the fact that they're in the middle of this run right now. And it's like, yep, you too.
Bingo.
Conduct detrimental to the team. You're not being around anymore. And then they're just moving on. It's like, hey, what? Can you give us a little clarity of what happened? No, we'll talk about it. It's like, okay, I guess. Is that what, does nobody know? That's what I said. He goes, yeah, team knows, but nobody outside the building. I'm like, oh, well, good on you. I appreciated that was the way they won it, but that's a pretty massive move to a team that is the second hottest in the NFL whenever you need to be hot, AJ Hawk.
No question. That's what I wanted to ask Chuck. Have you ever been presented with a situation like that, Chuck, where you have to boot somebody off the team or suspend them for multiple weeks?
No, not like that. Not for the rest of the season. And who knows if they make the playoffs, if they get to come back or whatever. But it speaks volumes to the, Shane Steichen, the organization. Number one, doesn't get out. Before.
I should have got that.
Before
for sure.
Everybody would have known like that, right?
Yes.
Doesn't get out, and you set the tone. They're good players. Tony Brown's a good player. Isaiah good player. We ain't tolerating it.
I love
so you're nipping that. It goes back to Shane Steichen and why we're all rooting for him for Coach of the Year and the job that he's done. He's built a culture of accountability, and you're not going to get away with shit.
I love the fact that Shane Steichen was on our show yesterday.
Yeah.
At the same exact time that was being announced pretty much. So we missed it. We missed it. But he would have had to answer it if we didn't miss it.
Yeah.
So, and he still showed up. It was like he would have taken it head on, I assume, like he has everything else. That guy we're doing ball here. Okay? We're doing ball here. Now, a couple of the sources that I have around the building is like his attention to detail is something that everybody appreciates. He's like just ball coach. I think we're seeing him being missed.
Yeah.
In Philadelphia.
Sure. Absolutely.
Especially whenever you hear what Jason Kelsey said on the New Heights podcast about not being disciplined and everything like that. It's like, I think Shane Steichen's that guy, AJ. I think that's the style of coach that he is.
And whatever happened with the guys getting kicked off the team, like that has an effect for years to come. As long as Shane Steichen is there, like, hey, man, we can't mess around. Like, even guys coming in 2-3 years from now, if they're messing around doing something like a vet could be like, hey, I'm just letting you know, dude. Like, he kicked guys off the team when we were in the playoff hunt.
Week 16. 5-1, second hottest team in the NFL. Have all the pieces if we need it. Everybody's playing right. 2 guys that kicked them off the team. Yeah. So just something to think about if you want to. Maybe definitely warrant.
Yeah, if it's warranted, they did something wrong, clearly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hope it's on Ime Ibuka.
Yeah, hopefully it's not Udoka. Don't want that.
It is.
Don't want that to happen.
I just immediately assumed another gambling type thing.
That would have got out, right? That would have got out.
That'd be the league,
think.
right?
Because that'd be league off.
The NFL.
Haven't heard a lot of that. Good.
No, right.
There we go.
Yeah.
Right? Because we were very worried that was going to be the thing.
Everybody.
Yeah, like how are they going to regulate this? How are they going to monitor it? How are guys not going to get caught? Can't even use fake names. Guys are using their aunt's name. They're catching that. It's like in a hotel, you're in a state that's legal. There's a basketball game. You're in the parking lot of a hotel on a away game. That's technically NFL property because you're there for the team. Does that count as a thing? It's like they had to sort through a lot of stuff quickly, and they did. Good on them. Good on the NFL team and the players.
Yeah.
Adapting and not doing it.
Have you seen the NBA players who have been gambling? Because it's hilarious. I believe it was Thanksgiving. I'm sure we're going to see it on Christmas too. Josh Hart woke up and tweeted like, "Need our parlays to hit today, boys. Who's scoring a touchdown?" So he's like leaning into it almost.
I'm sure Adam Silver loved that.
Yeah.
I'm sure he absolutely loved it.
When he talks about gambling, it's
part of the program.
Yeah, he loves it. He's about it.
It's part of the program.
They have the same rules?
Probably.
Yeah, can't bet on your own, I believe.
Or the NBA.
Like in the facility, at the hotel.
I don't know about
Probably.
Yeah.
I would assume. I would assume that it's
You
just.
assume most of those guys would just be like, okay, in here, no, on the sidewalk, I got to go to Arby's. No, how about you just don't ever put an app on your phone, and how about you just don't gamble?
Well, that's a good way to look at it.
That's the easiest way.
I think a lot of people are doing that, and I think it's a good idea, because it'll be here whenever you retire. It'll always be here.
Yes.
And it's more regulated and better than it's ever been. It'll be there when you retire. But if you got a good lean on an NBA game, I'm happy the fact that the NFL was like, all right, you guys, if you think you know everything, and this is another income you think, you do what you got to do. We just got to be smart about it. Speaking of being smart about it, KZ got suspended the rest of the season as well.
Whoa.
Hey, DeMonte KZ, am I saying it right?
Yeah.
Pittsburgh Steelers safety. We were there for this hit that took place, and it led to him being suspended for the rest of the season, playoffs included, I do believe. So that's a lot of money being taken out of his pocket, and he can come back for playoffs?
If they make,
Okay, so it's just the rest of the season. Multiple offenses, they say, with this particular guy, but there's been an interesting reaction from very notable people in the football community. Tom Brady actually showed up in the Instagram comments and said, nobody likes seeing players get hurt, okay? Let me set the tone here.
Yeah.
But hard hits happen. QBs should not be throwing the ball in areas where they are exposing their own teammates to these types of hits. Coaches need to coach better. QBs need to read coverages and throw the ball to the right places, and defenders should aim for the right hitting areas. To put the blame on the defense player all the time is just flat out wrong. Need better quarterback play. It's not okay quarterbacks get your wide receivers hit because of your bad decisions. This is not the first time that Tom Brady, you saw 103,000 likes on it. Here's Tom Brady speaking publicly about this entire setup, about him knowing when and where to throw the rock to.
It's not being taught the right way. Like, a quarterback should only throw the ball to certain places because your receiver is in danger of getting hit. For example, when I used to play against Ray Lewis, I wouldn't throw the ball to the middle of the field because he'd go after you, and he would hit, and we didn't always have the biggest receivers, but he would hit him and knock him out of the game. And now every hard hit is a penalty on the defense. So I feel like they penalize defensive players for offensive mistakes. So, like, if a quarterback, I was watching the Chicago Bear game, the quarterback messes up, doesn't see the blitzer, or the line screws up, I don't know what happened, but the quarterback or the line on offense, the defensive player comes in and hits him hard, and they throw a flag on the defense. So they've almost moved the protection of your opponent to you, as opposed to where it should be, which is on yourself. Like, if you're a quarterback, you got to protect yourself and your players. It shouldn't be the responsibility of your opponent to protect you. And I think that's it creates really bad habits for players because you feel like I can basically do anything. I could run and not slide. I can throw my receiver into any coverage and not have any repercussion for it. The only thing they're going to do is they're actually going to blame the defensive player for making a good, solid hit, and now the defensive player is going to feel like, oh, I can't do that, even though I feel like it was an offensive mistake. So in the end, I think it's a really disservice to the sport because the sport isn't being played at a high level like I believe that it once was. It actually deteriorates because you're not teaching the players the reasons and the fundamentals of what the sport should be.
Okay, I mean, hey, real statement there. And he's old school football player, obviously played a long time, started in the NFL when it was vastly different. I think they were still doing 3 days in training camp, and obviously the CBA was nowhere near protecting players like it is now. What he was saying, though, I think a lot of defensive players are like, here to what Tom Brady's saying, AJ. It's hard not to understand what he's saying, though, and have massive appreciation for it being the common sense side of things.
Yeah, it does seem to make a lot of sense what he's saying, but also at the same time, we see how tough it is to play quarterback in the NFL. Everybody is not Tom Brady and can put the ball exactly where you want it every time.
Hey, Gardner, know that the guy's there. Okay? Know that the guy's there. Don't throw it like that. Throw it on his chest. Okay? Don't throw it 7 yards in front of him. That's what he's – and it is funny to think that Tom Brady's just like, why doesn't everybody just win 7 Super Bowls?
Easy.
That's kind of what's happening. I understand this. I get it. I understand what he's saying. I agree with him. I think it's awesome. I just think that's kind of hard to execute for everybody in the NFL right now.
Chuck, defense coordinators have to love hearing that, though. But I don't know if that's going to change anything for old.
No, it's impossible to play because if you look at KZ on that play, what's he supposed to do?
There's no strike zone.
And he leads shoulder.
And he goes. You slow it down, right? And it is all shoulder. And these plays, there's going to be some incidental contact. And in real time, bang, bang plays, it's like, okay, how many flags got thrown?
Yeah,
Every official, all 7 on the everyone threw one, right? And then right in the middle of the street, this guy's out. He's done, like in the old days. You can't play defense anymore. They want the defender to just sit there and let him catch that ball, AJ, and then tag him down if he makes a catch. And then to Tom's point, and AJ's right, not every guy can read and process all these coverages that well to say, hey, you can't overthrow on this one, but on this one you can. But I could see offensive coaches saying, hey, let that thing fly, go anywhere you want to because they can't hit you. And if they do, we hope you don't get hurt. We hope you survive the hit, but we're going to get a personal foul.
Sacrifice for the team, yeah. Sacrifice your body for the squad, absolutely. 15 yards.
Yeah, Mike Mitchell, who's safety coach for the Indianapolis Colts, former Pittsburgh Steeler. I don't know what to tell my safeties anymore. He's a safety coach right now. I just let them catch it. If I were a wide receiver, I would dive for every catch. That would ensure no contact on a completed pass. Playing deep safety in today's NFL, where rules are made mostly by people who have never played, is tough. This guy's current coach in the NFL for the Indianapolis Colts right now, and it's because of that play. And Michael Pittman, by the way, to his credit, never complained.
Nope.
He didn't say anything. He said, I'm good. I'm back. He was in protocol, I think, for a little bit. He wasn't like calling for KZ and everything. The entire field, though, players and coach, took a knee around Michael Pittman, by the way, on the field. I think it went to a commercial break. Yeah. Everybody on the field took a knee almost like, it was pretty that was pretty heavy. That was pretty heavy contact right there. And they showed the replay, and he gets folded up. And there was a boo for KZ, obviously, because the Colts definitely want a penalty on that.
Yeah,
it was an incompletion. Let's get a 15-yarder for sure. But also, one of our guys we like, just got hit in a way that doesn't happen a lot in the NFL. And then KZ also goes like this immediately afterwards. Like he thought, hey, I shoulder, no catch. Like in his head for a moment, he was like, yeah, that's a good play. And then 5 flags hit the ground. And then now he's suspended for the rest of the season. I mean, what a wild point of view for KZ. Happy no serious injuries happened. Yeah. And we understand that the NFL is going to continue to evolve so that the game can continue to exist. Because with all the concussion, Dr. Will Smith and CTE and everything that happened, they have to player safety, everything. And I say this because there's a lot of other decisions that are being made that aren't like player safety in mind. But if it involves head, it involves everything that was being brought to the light when they were trying to kill the game. The NFL is just going to continue to evolve, and I don't think they care. And Mike Mitchell, though, we understand completely where they're coming from.
Well, it's just tough, too, because, as a fan, at the end of the day, and everyone who played in the NFL talks about it, it's very physical. It's very violent. It just is.
That's why we like the game.
Exactly, yes. And that used to be, a part of it, when in the early 2000s or whatever, that was a massive part of it. When with Ray Lewis, it's hey, we can't really throw over the middle today because guys are going to remember that, and there actually are consequences. But that play, I mean, what do you expect him to do? It is you're handicapping these guys and handcuffing them, and then to suspend him for the rest of the season on top of it. It's that wasn't the intention. It's not like he's trying to hurt him, but I guess it is what it is.
Hey, it's bang bang play, and that's the way the new NFL is. Everybody's just got to understand and deal with it, I guess. And it's going to continue to go. Ratings are only going up. So is the money. Mm-hmm. We don't like that KZ was suspended for the rest of the season. Very happy that Michael Pittman's okay. And these conversations are only going to continue to get louder by ex-players who continue to have platforms, and then with the rules changing into a new game. Let's talk about a new game. Since Joe Brady has been the offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills, this man has been a focal point. And there's a new statement going on around Buffalo.
Oh, yeah.
They say, let James Cook. The James that they're talking about wanting to cook is actually the running back for the Buffalo Bills. Absolute stud. This past weekend, he rushed 25 times for 179 yards and a tud. Had 2 catches, 42 yards, and another tud. Ladies and gentlemen, James Cook.
Yeah, James.
How you doing, man?
How y'all doing?
Hey, I was told potentially they call you Jimbo. Is that real? Jimbo's the name?
Yeah.
We hate it. We love it.
Oh, you gotta love it.
Okay, so Jimbo Cook's joining us here. Jimbo, it feels like everybody's talking about the Buffalo Bills being a wagon at this point, playing the hottest and best football that you've played all year. You are obviously much more of a focal point. Do you feel the momentum in the building in the offense? And is it Joe Brady? Is that the person that we can point to for why you guys are playing the way you're playing?
I mean, you can point at anybody once you win it, you know. We go out here each and every week and just work hard, you know. Back against the wall, just go 1-0 every week.
Go ahead, AJ.
Do you you can kind of do it all as a running back. You know, you catch the ball in the backfield, catch the ball down the field. Obviously, unbelievable routes that you can run. Whoever they put on you, it seems like it's impossible to cover. But you take pride in kind of being an all-around guy that can do everything.
Of course, you know, the more you can do, the more balls you can get. You know, and the more you can help, it's awesome. So, I mean, I love being a do-it threat, and the more times I can get the ball, it's a plus for me.
I think we just learned that the offense or the offensive line, or maybe the team, got Josh Allen a new ATV or a quad. Ooh. Is this accurate? And is this breaking news? Is this happening right now as we speak?
They just pushed it up.
He almost ran somebody over right there.
Yeah,
whoa. I thought he was a cowboy. Isn't this guy a cowboy?
Yeah, Wyoming.
He
did it on purpose. Hell yeah.
He's out there on a bike out there. He's almost running some people over. We appreciate it. Vibes much higher these days, yeah, when you're winning, obviously, in the building?
Yes, sir.
What was it like? Was there a different feeling over the last couple of years whenever maybe you guys weren't playing your absolute best ball? And when you have it back, do you guys acknowledge it and talk about it?
I mean, yeah, you got to. You know, you talk about your losses and your wins, and you just learn from both, and you fix it and you get better.
James, we saw a play early in the game where you and the offensive line drove the Dallas Cowboys like 8 yards here. This is first quarter, first drive. Is this a tone setter for you boys? Because it felt like, you know, we saw the Deion Dawkins block where he goes 20 yards down the field and bodies somebody. Was it a focus on being more physical than the Dallas Cowboys?
Well, of course, you know, that's always the mindset going into a game, you know, out physical the opponent. And that run was the mindset and the statement, you know, got the fans hyped, got everybody hyped. So we just carried that momentum on and handle business.
When you're in the middle of that scrum, what are we trying to do? We're just trying to keep our feet alive, or how's it going whenever you're – go ahead.
Trying to protect the ball.
Oh, we're just here. We're here right now. Trying not to go down. You understand which way is the right way we're trying to get to, and then just masses of humanity just start pushing you around, and you just enjoy the ride?
Yeah, just hold on to the ball.
I mean, that is – they don't call the plate dead either.
No. Awesome.
Which is a beautiful thing, a little throwback football. Okay, we appreciate you making time. We know you have a meeting, and you had meetings, and we got ATV. The Bills are a wagon. You're cooking like a great chef right now.
Hell yeah.
Like a great chef. We appreciate you, man. Good luck this week.
Appreciate y'all.
Ladies and gentlemen, James Cook.
Yeah, Jimbo.
So he's supposed to come on at a time. Meeting ran long. Mm-hmm. Then they had GIF, and then now they got another meeting.
Yeah. That ATV is sweet.
That ATV was sweet.
Yeah, Josh.
Was that Polaris? What was that?
I don't know.
It's pretty nice. He did it on purpose. He swerved to try to look. He swerved to scare the guys.
Yeah, he said a little wake up. He just wanted.
I think it had a little more juice than he anticipated.
Yeah, that must have been it.
For real.
We call those quads where I am from.
Yes, we do.
Midwest calls them ATVs.
Quad.
You call them quad as well.
Four-wheeler.
There's people that call them bikes. There's people that call them four-wheelers. There's different styles of ATVs and mines. There's a side-by-side. Yep. There's obviously the big boy. Mm-hmm. That one, though, I have multiple
Gator
of those since moving out here to Indiana. Those are a good time, bro. You can get those things.
Snowmobile probably more fitting, right?
So I've never done a snowmobile.
No, it doesn't snow
Very
anymore.
fun.
They're so fun.
You
the
got,
best.
You find a
Yeah, I
place,
want to.
go where there's snow and go do that.
AJ, have you ever done? I've never lived in a place where there's enough snow, or made the trip to a place where there's enough snow. But I've heard it's a great time.
I want to do the thing where you go like take a snowmobile tour through the mountains
Yeah.
or something, or you
Yes.
just go
Yes.
cruise for a long time. That's what I want to do.
Yeah, me too. But I'm gonna need to make sure wherever we're going has electricity, because there's some of those things you're signing up for. It's like, what's the temperature?
Mm-hmm.
And where are we staying? Well, we'll set up camp. I ain't. Wait, okay.
Yeah.
The tent?
We took the
No, I'm going to come back to the lodge afterwards.
Yeah, go out like
whatever.
Yeah, that camp better have a good base,
Yep.
concrete, electricity,
All those
internet,
ski resorts got tours like that.
snowmobiles. I've heard they're just the quads of the snow.
Yeah,
right?
they're incredible.
They're going like 100 miles an hour.
You can really get going on them.
Damn.
I got in the jet skis as of late, going 65 wide open on the lake, patrolling the land.
Have to.
Water, I mean. Had to do it. Yeah, it's a good time. You know, the rednecks, they have a good time.
Oh, yes,
they
they
got a lot
do.
more fun stuff and toys
They do.
than others. Anyways, that is Coaches Up Thursday. We'll be back tomorrow with an overreaction, beautiful Friday as we launch into the Christmas weekend. See ya. Nailed it.
Go.
Right in there.
Let's go.
Hop back.
Hey, how about next week? Next week on ESPN, a couple different days, we're leading into a bowl game on ESPN. At 2 o'clock, they're kicking off. So it's like, as we're wrapping up, you know, Tone's going to run through the,
Oh, yeah.
here's what we need to know about.
SMU.
Bowling Green in Minnesota one day, and I can't
Is
remember.
it SMU Clemson?
You know who's doing the games too? You can throw to the guys in the booth, whoever's the play-by-play and the color person.
Well, the issue is we stopped with 7 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, didn't go right to
So
him.
I don't know, you know, because the commercial-free hour. Shout out to SeatGeek. Shout out to Verizon.
Hell yeah.
Shout out to DoorDash.
Right.
I guess there's a couple more coming on board here pretty soon.
Ooh.
I guess there was, you know, they wanted to see how it works.
Sure.
You know, how's this?
How's it work?
You're not taking commercials.
No.
That doesn't. What do we? How's that?
We needed commercials to sell the stuff.
That's what commercials are.
That's how we do it.
That was awesome. Those conversations were phenomenal. You know what I mean? Phenomenal. Just like, what are we? So
That makes no sense.
I can't do that.
I mean, it's pretty awesome though that it's commercial free. Like that's a big deal. It doesn't happen. Just not.
It will though.
This Saturday.
The fourth quarter, yeah.
It could, yeah, you might change, but I'm saying until now, like that doesn't happen.
That's internet. You know?
Yes.
That's like internet digital stuff. It's like, you know, it's hard to be a conversation show and have to take a break every 8 minutes. You know, that is not a necessarily good thing. But did we want to go to linear television? Yeah. I think, you know, is our show going to be great for linear? We will find out. You know, we will find out over the next couple of years. We'll see what people think and how that whole thing goes. But as the platforms continue to grow everywhere else, it's like, do we, you know, is it time to maybe not go to a commercial every 8 minutes?
Yeah.
You know, is this the right thing? And then getting people to understand that have made money a long time doing something. No, you got a commercial break every 8 minutes.
Yeah.
And then we sell these 30-second ads that nobody listens to.
Yeah, Mando.
And then you come back and guess what? Restart a conversation.
Yep.
That's welcome to TV.
Can't do that with guests though, because then you got 8 minutes. It takes 5 minutes for that.
What
person.
we just did with James Cook would be every time.
Every single person.
Yeah, I'm late. I got no time.
Yep.
Great to be here.
Sweet.
You think James Cook will look back and they say, "I'm happy I did that"?
Yeah.
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 I think
so.
I bet he will.
absolutely.
I don't think so.
No, I think he checked that box. I think next week when he has, 150 and 2 more tuds, he can just say, "Hey, I'm not doing any fucking interviews. I did my
one last
McAfee.
week.
I just did my McAfee on Thursday.
You saw me pull it. Pull the clip.
I was there.
I was there. Second hour. The second hour. I was there.
ATV talk.
All right, let's get to a break. We got Bill Cowher in the next hour.
Hell yeah.
Woo!
Bill Cowher will join us. Coach Pagano will give his official pick for Thursday Night Football. 9-4-1, Chuck.
Pretty good.
Damn good.
We're getting 10. We're getting double-digit
Here
wins.
we go.
Feel good about this one.
Oh, yeah?
Really
Got a $10 bill for it.
Really good.
Which way you leaning, Chuck?
MCDC 5.
What's that?
MCDC did the 5. You did the 5. I was
Oh,
saying,
yeah,
is there
yeah.
a $10 bill? Because
Or water.
You've been very kind to him.
yeah.
Kind of jumped off that wagon a little bit.
Who?
Oh, Chuck, there's still a lot of time left. I wouldn't be bumping your gums with another hour coming up.
He's hard on me, Pat.
What's that all about?
He's got. I don't know what I did to him.
Well, we found out the other day.
Funny
Old man,
enough, yeah.
bumping your gums. I mean,
What'd you do?
We talked the other day about this because it has been brought up to him a couple times like, hey, the way you talk, Chuck, too much.
Very rude.
Yeah, Chuck, good guy. Chuck obviously handles it. Football guy.
Chuck gave him an incredible Christmas gift.
Yep.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, great gift.
Thank you for my gift as well. I'm wearing them right now.
Boom.
Boom. Chuck got me these. How's the hamstring? Pretty good.
Ooh.
How's the hamstring? Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Good knee bend.
Good buddy at home, Pancho Romero.
Shout out to
Poncho.
That's the name of Stone Cold Steve Austin's barn cat as well, Poncho.
Rest in peace, Lefty.
Good banana bread.
So do you know why? Heidi Ho's banana bread, phenomenal.
You know whose wife that is?
No.
Ken Dilger.
Really?
Yes.
Holy hell, Ken Dilger is a former tight end.
Yeah.
Does a lot of commercials here in Indianapolis. Real estate guy, I think.
He's on the program with AC. You know, he does that
TV
countdown to
There he
kickoff
is.
with
A
him.
lot of TV for
That's
Ken.
how AC gets the banana bread from Heidi Ho.
The banana bread's a real deal.
Great.
Unbelievable.
This has been one of the most obnoxiously put into our office things, this banana bread.
So good.
Cinnamon on top.
Yep. That's so good.
That's the key. The cinnamon's the key.
Moist. The
It's
whole thing's
so
moist.
moist.
So moist.
So moist.
He brought in, 15 of them today? Here you go, boys. Get diabetes before Christmas.
Hell yeah.
You got it.
I don't take anything personal. You know that.
Well, you know why? We found out.
Yeah, I
love
explained because I thought about it on my own. And do you know when I met you? Do you know like what year, what day? I don't, but I just know that every single day and year of my life up until meeting you, I hated you because you were just the Colts head coach. And that is where it comes from.
I get that.
Exactly.
The first time we met in person was, I think you came over to the Conrad. We had some tickets to a game.
Yeah, that was a couple years ago. Yeah, Pat had tickets.
You pulled up on a deal and got you whatever.
Yeah.
That's the first time. Dapped it up. I felt like this is going to be a really, really good relationship.
And it has been. It has been.
How about now? How do you feel about it now?
Fantastic.
I feel awesome about it. I love Conrad.
Okay, all right, go.
Yeah, two football guys.
It's Christmas, too. Maybe be a little kinder.
Yeah. I haven't said anything in 2 hours, and now you guys bringing this up is making me want
You
to say
said
stuff.
bumping your gums, old man.
That's because
You were kind of leaning into it.
Exactly, because he brought it up. He acknowledged it. You could just not acknowledge it and just hope it doesn't change. Usually it doesn't.
It's not just you. Yesterday, he told JJ he wants none of his stupid fucking gifts.
That's true, because I don't.
Yeah, so it seems like he has little personal demons to figure out. Yeah. That's what we're saying.
He's working through them. See?
Yeah, he is.
This is just New England versus the world, and it's always been that way.
No, it's Detroit versus everybody.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Ohio versus the world.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
It's going to be a
Michigan
while.
versus-
I think for that program.
Believe me,
to get
that's what I.
that.
That's
You're going
what
to be
I said.
miserable for a long time.
That's what I said yesterday.
You think
Chuck.
Bill's gone or no?
That's a hard one. I don't think so.
No way. I mean, look what's happening in some of these teams who are on the bottom. Absolutely. You've mentioned it about the one-score games in the season. We've had 7 one-score games. And look at some of the teams that are one-score games. Eagles, Dolphins.
The year we were 2-14, 9 of those games, one-score games.
Bingo.
It's like if the ball just so happens to bounce into some fourth stringer's arms that we were playing that week, and he runs into the end zone, we win.
Yep.
And it's a complete opposite game. But instead, no balls bounced in any fourth stringer's arms.
Yeah.
They bounced in everybody else's arms. We just got murdered.
Week 1 against the
14th straight
Eagles.
time.
4th and 12. Guy catches it, only gets 1 foot down, game over. And that was in the red zone.
Chad Ryland.
Giants.
Right there.
There's a lot of that this year. That's why you just can't fire him.
All right,
Like,
Bill.
who are you going to shoot? I'm sorry.
No.
Like, who are you going to replace Bill with?
Brandon
Like,
Staley.
until
The
you
grass is
got,
greener.
Brandon Staley.
Mayo.
Why not?
And then who's replacing with GM?
Brandon Staley.
They're not going to.
That's the question. Who's going to be the GM there? That's another thing. Like, that's tough.
It's
It's getting a lot.
It's Elliot Wolf, I believe. Or it's the guy who stepped up
Wolfman?
once Ziegler.
Yeah, I know Elliot.
Yeah,
To Chuck's grooming comment.
good.
Which
Elliot
was
came to the
interesting.
University of Miami to go to school. Legendary father, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And was
The
going to
Wolf
Ron.
Ron Wolf, unbelievable.
just got
background.
released in Colorado.
5 of them.
He was breaking down
Yeah.
video VHSs for me down there.
Elliot?
Yeah,
Now look at him.
Yep.
he's a stud.
He is a stud. Just like you are, Chuck. Can't wait to get your pick. Can't wait to chat with Bill Cowher in about 5 minutes. We got a great third hour here and maybe even 25 more winners. Ooh. Chuck Pagano could sling the pill a little bit
yeah.
like he's Drew Lock on a Monday night.
Okay.
Be a friend, tell a friend something nice. It might change your life. Take 5.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of Undercover. On this show right here, we try to give recognition to the guys that don't get the recognition like the big guys.
He's an undercover dog. He's
He's an undercover dog for sure.
My first undercover dog is Jake Brown, and he won 3 in a row, baby. 7 touchdowns, 1,248 yards, have a completion percentage of 73.6. You heard what he said. My second undercover dog is Greg Newsom. Did y'all see the dance? Whoa, whoa. Whoa, what a game. He had 2 PBUs, 6 tackles. To me, that's an outstanding game for a DB. On the season, he got 44 tackles, 4 TFLs, 2 interceptions, and a pick 6. My third undercover dog is Trey Sermon and Ty Goodson. I put them all in one. This week, Tyler Goodson had 11 carries for 69 yards. Trey Sermon had 17 carries for 88 yards. Combine that together, you get 157 yards. That's why these 2 are my undercover dogs. Merry Christmas to all my undercover dogs. People, use the hashtag undercover dogs. Give me my Christmas gift by helping me pick undercover dogs every week.
He's an undercover dog. He's an undercover dog for sure.
If you're the NCAA and you're sitting in that stupid office in Indianapolis where we happen to live, it's a great city. It's a great town. And there's a dumb institution that is ruling over college football. Because if you don't want these people dancing... Celebration, bitches!
What's a major? Is that the president's name?
Oh, that's Kurt Signatic.
Do we like the NCAA? Do we like Pat? Do we love the Dukes?
I wish when I was asked, like, why did you punt? I could say my subcommittee recommended I punt.
Talk your shit. This guy's hot. This guy's hot.
We'll see you in the next hour. I say today, we take a stand against the NCAA. Let them bowl.
Let them bowl. Amen.
Rest in peace, Dale. Moment of silence for Dale Earnhardt. Moment has passed. Thank you, Dale. This one's for 3. AJ Hawk, $5,000. This has been one of the coolest moments of my entire professional life. JMU! Thank you so much for the hospitality. JMU! You understand quickly that there's idiots making decisions in every single place that you would never guess idiots would be making decisions. You don't think bowl season deserves to have this situation cooking behind it? College football is better because JMU's football is crushing. College is better because what their football team is doing. The community is better. And the NCAA, yet again, adds to their long list of decisions. Look at that scene, bro, in the hills of Virginia. You know what? To hell with all of them. James Madison, right here. Right here. That chef looks damn good. I'd eat that guy's meat any day of the week. If you're able to bury this 33-yard field goal, kicking is easy is what you have said to kickers before. Others have on the internet. Now, 90 racks on the line. We believe. Oh! Kill the kid! Kill
are going to crush App State. They would crush anybody this weekend, especially in this city with how dumb the NCAA is. Let them bowl and let the boys dominate today.
My Constitution, I have the First Amendment right to free speech. Pat has the Second Amendment right to take its sleeves off and show the bare arms all the time. But I'm saying, if we are so lucky to go undefeated this year, and we end up winning in a bowl game, if we get in, I'm going to use my First Amendment to declare the JMU Dukes national champions. Like UCF. I'm just going to say it, and come and stop me. Time to coach.
I'm jacked. It's working. All of it's working.
They'll have one loss because App State is beating JMU Mountaineers, baby. They're gonna dog shit all over this dumb place. App State forever. Yeah, fuck you too. How about that?
Hey,
Why?
let's go.
This show stinks, and the fact that you listen, we are very, very thankful for. The all-time leading tackler for the Green Bay Packers, you pig!
Damn it!
Be a friend, tell a friend something nice could change their life.
Sport!
Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to our humble abode, the Thunderdome, on this Coach 'em Up Thursday, December 21st. Merry Christmas, 2023. Hour 3 of the program starts now. Football is happening tonight as Week 16 of the NFL season kicks off in Los Angeles as the Rams play host to the Saints. That man has won a Super Bowl championship. He has also been the all-time leading tackler for the Green Bay Packers. That's A.J. Hawk. What a jawline. Merry Christmas, A.J. Merry Christmas, A.J.
Merry Christmas.
Now,
Merry Christmas to all of you.
Your jaw normally the best in all of sport, but I do believe the man we're about to have join us might have outjawed you for some time. The Toxic Table is here at Boston Connor and at Ty Schmidt. Great mustache, Con man.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy this guy's on the show today just because, two guys who have mustaches.
Well, I was about to say, normally on this particular program, you would have the best mustache on this particular show, but that might change with the man we're about to bring on here in just a matter of moments. One half of the Hammer, Dahn Cowboys, Tone Diggs is here.
Normally.
You would be the biggest Pittsburgh guy on our particular program, but that might change here in a matter of moments whenever the guy joins us. In 36 years as a coach of football, 18 in college, 18 in the NFL, Chuck Pagano is here.
Yeah, Coach.
Now, Coach, you would normally be the only coach that would be joining us for the third hour here on Thursdays, and you'll be giving us your pick for Thursday Night Football. But instead, today, we have somebody who is maybe the most dynamic Yinzer in the history of Yinzers.
Yeah.
He's from Crafton, obviously. The guy's got an incredible Yinzer accent, but he would actually go on to be the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. He would win a Super Bowl for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Right.
And now he represents every single week on CBS on Sunday on the kickoff show after he brings J.J. Watt donuts and other pastries that I assume J.J. would never eat. Ladies and gentlemen, legend, Bill Carr.
Hey, Pat, gang, AJ, good to see you.
Hey, Coach.
Boston,
Yeah,
Ty.
yeah, here we go. Hey, Coach, great to have you. I like
Tone. I got Tone with the helmet there, and Chuck's got the helmet. I like this.
Okay, hey, Coach, you're welcome back anytime. We are very thankful. What do you think of this mustache? What do you think of this stash? It's pretty new to this guy.
No, Boston, I like it. I look forward to his shirts every time on the show, though. I like, the history behind it and the passion with which he wears the shirts. I like the passion.
Yeah, you saw the Dog the Bounty Hunter. Yeah, he lost his mind with Dog the Bounty Hunter on his chest the other day. He certainly got mad. How about jaw lines on AJ? You got to respect and appreciate that.
Absolutely. AJ's got it. He looks like an inside linebacker coming out of the womb. He probably looked like an inside linebacker. He's got that face. He's chiseled. I love it. I think we look a lot alike, actually.
Yeah, super handsome men.
I appreciate that.
Since birth. Yeah, that's a great compliment. Wow. Good for you, AJ.
Let's go.
What a day.
I feel great.
Okay, Coach, because of, the hard-nosed, tough style human and football player, and coach that you were. I assume you have to love where we're sitting at right now in this NFL season. Top of the NFC is a tough team in the 49ers who take a lot of pride in coming off the bus. They're intimidating. Going on the field, they're intimidating.
Right.
Their style of play is a very physical one, and it's not fake. It's not fugazi toughness. It's actual toughness. And then you go with the Baltimore Ravens at the top of the AFC, same exact thing. Like, they are a tough team, built to be tough. They do their – it's hard-nosed football at the top of the brackets right now. I assume you enjoy that. And what do you think about the two teams that are at the top right now? Who's most likely at this point, you think?
Well, I mean, a good litmus test we're going to get this weekend, right? They're matching up against each other, and it's going to be a good test. But I think you're right. I do like the fact that these teams – their identity is probably around running the football and playing defense. And they got quarterbacks that can make plays. They got playmakers at the skilled positions. But I think a lot of both these teams, it starts with their play on the line, offensively and defensively. It starts up there with that physicality that they have, their ability to control the line of scrimmage, and let the other guys do their thing. So this will be a great litmus test. I think the one thing that it's interesting, I think when you watch San Francisco coming into this game, they had a little bit of a test of going against a very mobile quarterback last week in Kyler Murray, right, against Arizona. So Kyler's running around and doing all those things. Now you're going against Lamar, same type of guy that's going to extend the play. Your coverage has to stick, as we call plaster, and stay on things longer. You got to anticipate the untimed, the ability to keep drives going with plays that sometimes you're just going to win. He's just going to make a super athletic play. So, and then you look on the other side, and you look at this team in San Francisco. No one's playing any better than them right now.
That's how everybody feels, Bill. It's like Baltimore has heard that, though. They're using that and drawing from that as, they're the best team in football. They feel the exact same way. It's a beautiful Week 16 matchup. Go ahead, AJ.
Coach, if you were a D coordinator and you were facing this San Francisco offense, like, where do you start? Like, what do you tell your team on, like, Wednesday install? Hey, this is our plan. This is what we do. This is how we're going to slow these guys down or stop them. Like, where do you even begin?
It's interesting, Jay. On Sunday on the CBS NFL Today, I did a breakdown. We talked about the San Francisco 49ers, and I said if I was going against them, so I studied them. So I wanted to go back to that 3-game losing streak. Who played them the best? So I went back and watched the Cleveland Browns, and they beat them at the same time. You had Debo out there. Trent was out there. They didn't finish the game, but you had all the pieces were right there. And the thing I would just say, number one, is you have to play 8-man boxes. You have to stop the run first. If you don't stop the run, it's going to be a long day and nothing else really matters. And McCaffrey's very good at that. So to me, the 8-man boxes are going to be important. The other thing, with all the motion they do, they try to get you to play a lot of zone. You can't be afraid to play man-to-man against them because they can overload a side to you. So I think the biggest thing is you can't make a living out of it, but you got to be able to mix things up. And mixing things up against Brock Purdy is important. He processes information so well. It's such a rhythmic throwing game and the things that they do. So to me, getting him uncomfortable, make him hesitate just a bit, get him off his spot, somewhat like when you go against Tom Brady, right? Because he loves to stay in that little pocket. He can hit the middle of the throw. He can make all the touch throws. He hits all the windows, goes from one side to the other. So you got to be able to mix it up, get him off his spot, but it starts with Christian McCaffrey. Say what you want. That's the guy you better stop first.
Yeah, they've had this conversation, who should win the MVP? Like, because Brock Purdy is going to end up being the odds-on favorite whenever it comes down to the end because of how they're going to continue to play, we assume. Like, we just assume with what the Niners have proved, with Purdy at quarterback, even going back to last year, they're going to be good. They're going to continue this, and he's going to. But you talk to Purdy, and you talk to everybody, it's like, CMC's the most important guy, and you just heard you're like, I study this team, defensive mind. The thing, we got to take away 23, but that's the issue with the Niners. You do pack the box. They got everybody. I mean, every position is bought in, too. Do you see the blocking downfield out of that team, Coach?
I mean, Brandon Ayuk, he made a block last week. He ran and just caught up just to get Christian another 5 yards. And I guess that's something we should try to get George Pickens to maybe let watch
Well, that's where we were heading next because I think watching like Juwan Jennings, I think is his name, and Jennings, Jennings, and then Ayuk is there, and then Debo there. They're like, obviously Ayuk and Debo, big names. Debo's already been paid, but you could tell like their culture, I think, by the way the effort is getting. George Kittle's obviously trying all the way down the field. Now on the flip side, Tone Diggs has a question for you, Coach, and remember, We're in the middle of quite a heartbreak for the Cowboy in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Coach.
Yes.
I mean, it feels like the whole city is burning down. Could you have imagined a time where, Hines Ward was saying that he didn't, it wasn't blocking because he didn't want to get rolled up on, or the Colts ran 20 times in a row to win a ball game against, a Steelers defense? It feels like, Ben came out and said the Steelers' way is potentially going away. Ryan Clark's come out and talked about it too, how it doesn't feel like the Steeler way is potentially a thing anymore. Have you talked about it, your thoughts on it all? And is it something that Coach Tomlin can turn around? Because as someone who grew up with your teams going from 95 on, that was my first memory was the Hail Mary against the Colts and Harbaugh.
Oh, yeah. That was good times.
That was good times.
At the time, Colts probably heartbroken. Jeez.
Just what are your thoughts on the whole situation in Pittsburgh right now, and can it be turned around with this regime?
Well, I mean, I'll tell you what, Tone. I think it is disappointing to see and hear what George Pickens talks about, because culture really is about commitment and sacrifice. And you're not just playing with one another; you're playing for one another. And no, I could never imagine a player at all not performing and giving everything, because to me it's all about effort. We're going to make mistakes, I get it, and sometimes we don't make the right call, but the one thing that should never be questioned is your effort and your ability to be there for your teammate, picking somebody up. So that is very bothersome. I think there's got to be consequences to that. And so I we'll see what happens with it, and he's going to be held accountable, because you have to have accountability. And you don't do anything and there's no consequence to the choice that he made, now you're losing accountability. And I think that's a very, very important element to have in that building. And right now the struggle has been on offense all year long. And I think the defense came through early in the season, making some big plays at the end of a game. They had some wins, maybe a false sense of confidence. They're really been no different all year long. It's a team that just has an inability to score points, and the defense feels like there's no margin of error. Can it get turned around? Yeah. I think that you have to sit back when the season's over, is see what you want to do on the offensive side of the ball. Bring in someone who is established, who's going to bring in a system that will get back to what Steeler football is about. If I was them right now, I would be putting whoever they want to put out there, but I had Kenny Pickens under center. Put him under center. You have Najee Harris, who's a downhill runner. He's not a side box car runner. He's not Warren. You see all the big runs, they're downhill. How you like Dahn?
First down when you run downhill, Donner. Yeah.
But you know what, though? It also sets up the play action. Everything else you want to do, you got a young quarterback. Lean it, and that helps the offensive line. There's nothing that's negative about going back there. Oh, it's old school. We're in a new era of shotgun. No, you're in an era of shotgun if you have a quarterback that can do it. But make him earn the right to do that. I mean, there's some guys, yes, I'm not going to put Patrick Mahomes under the center all the time. Hey, what'd they do with Josh Allen? All of a sudden, you're seeing Josh Allen back under center a little bit more and taking away some of that response and making it easier for him. Get the running game going. And sometimes, I'd sit there, and if Ben was making bad decisions, my answer to that was, I'm just going to call running plays. I'm not going to give you a chance to throw. Earn the right. Show me I can trust you again. Can I trust you? It's okay to punt. That's why we have a punter.
Oh, yeah.
It's okay every now and then to punt. That's all right. I'll trust my defense. So those are the things that you want to do, and I think that's why I love where the Buffalo Bills are right now. It's almost like backed into a corner. Let's come out and play defense. Let's run the ball a little bit more with James Cook. I mean, you saw that run. You showed it there. It was. I mean, that's football. That's Buffalo football. And Josh Allen, this fourth quarter, show it again. I mean, you can't get enough of that. I mean, seriously.
How would I saying? All I care about is my ball, the ball, which is great.
Oh, hey, absolutely, 100%, 100%. But you know what? It is a tone setter. I mean, it sets the tempo, and and everyone else feeds off of that. And I'll tell you what. Josh Allen at quarterback, because no one else had one in the fourth quarter. You want the ball in your hands? We'll put the ball in your hands if we need to.
Seems like he makes a lot of plays, and I appreciate you saying, like, you just got to identify who you are. You got to know, you have to have a self-awareness about your team and what you can do efficiently. Why do places not do that? Like, for instance, what you said about Kenny Pickett there. Why aren't they doing that? Why are some places that, on the flip side, like Shane Steichen, I think he ran the ball 17 straight times against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like, why are some teams able to run the ball when the other team knows they're going to run the ball, and why are some teams not able to do it? Why do you think that's the case?
I think it's a commitment, Pat. I think Shane Steichen has got to be talked about for Coach of the Year, what he's done in Indianapolis. And then, Gardner Minshew, when he's had that, and Jonathan Taylor hasn't been there all year. And honestly, Gus Bradley and that defense, they don't get enough credit. I mean, these guys are a turnover machine. They get takeaways every game.
19 straight. 19 straight, Coach.
I know. And so here's the thing I say is, it's not the yards, it's the attempts. If you attempt running the ball enough, the yards will come. Because you get 3 yards and because you get 2 yards, okay, we can't run it. No. It's about the attempts. Get the attempts, because the big plays and the everything else, they will come. And the play action will come. It helps your offensive linemen. They're not just back there teeing off and getting in a sprinter stance to try to rush the quarterback when you're in the shotgun. So I don't know why, to be honest with you, Pat, because I think when you look at the top teams in the league, they're very balanced. Baltimore's very balanced, running the ball, throwing the ball. San Francisco, as you talked about, they're going to run the ball, throw the ball. The Miami Dolphins, what have they done this year? They got back to running the football that complements their passing game with Tyreek Hill. Yeah, the Detroit Lions. You think they don't like to run the football with Dan Campbell and that offensive line? I mean, so and even the Cowboys have gotten back into running the football and putting all of a sudden you see Dak's back under center a little bit. So the running the game sets up the play action, which gives you the big plays, and it's an old theory, but it works. Old school still works.
Hell yeah, Coach. Hell yeah. That felt good to say, I assume. And while you're watching these games, whenever you're seeing these teams that are shaped very similar to the teams that you had in Pittsburgh have success in 2023, I do wonder if you go, oh, maybe I do go back and coach. I do go back and coach, because allegedly there's going to be a couple spots open. Now, Con has a question for you, Coach.
Yeah, Coach, speaking of the old guard, if you will, obviously what's happening in New England, there's a lot of conversations around Bill, if he's going to be the coach there, if he's going to go somewhere else. And then you look at like a Seattle with Pete Carroll, another older guy, and even with the Chiefs and Andy Reid. So kind of a two-parter. How long do you think those guys are going to coach? And, what's the process that they go through mentally to figure it out? And then as somebody who had a young quarterback who was fantastic like Big Ben, and you didn't end up just riding it out with him, see where it would go, how long do you think Andy Reid goes? Because obviously he has Mahomes, and the assumption is that he'll go till Mahomes is done. But do you think there is a world where Andy Reid maybe, wins another Super Bowl, whether it's his third or his fifth with the Chiefs, and then walks away at some point?
I don't know if Andy will really ever walk away. I don't know if Bill would ever really walk away. I think you get to a certain point in your life. My reasons for walking away at the time was more personal than it was professional. And I think these guys are, they're in it. They have their kids are involved with in the coaching element of it, which is a big part of it. So the same thing with Pete. So it's a family deal. And these guys, to me, is you're going to have to probably peel them off the field at some point. They're not going to want to come off the field. It's a part of their life. It's a part of their DNA. They love what they do. So that to me is, for Bill, he's going through a period of time where he's trying to find a quarterback. That defense has still played well all year long, to be quite honest with you. And I don't know how that's going to end up there. It seems like it's heading toward a separation. I hope that it doesn't. Bill's done too much for that organization, and he's been up there too long, and he's a part of the culture in Boston right now. I'd hate to see it come to the end and him trying to take this somewhere else. And I think Andy will be in Kansas City for a while with Patrick. He got a young quarterback, and that's like his little toy. He'll be playing. And Pete, to me, I don't know. He'll be running up and down Seattle probably another 5 years. Who knows?
He's phenomenal. His energy level is
unbelievable. Do you see with his hat backwards on the press conference?
Yeah, halfway back his head, which was quite a move. It was quite a move. But I do appreciate that we see videos of him throwing and his energy level at practice and every day. They say it's the exact same. Like you say, you're gonna have to peel those guys off. That's like. If we didn't have this show, I think Chuck would go absolutely insane. If you didn't have CBS on Sundays, I assume you would. No question. Yeah, that's just how it is.
No question. I cannot imagine being at home watching it with my wife. I mean, nothing against her, but I said it's like I need to be with a bunch of guys watching football. If I'm going to watch football, and I'm great. I got Nate, Boomer, Phil. We question all the calls. We'd have all the answers afterwards. And like I said, I haven't lost a game in 17 years.
Hey, that'll be undefeated. Almost 2 decades. Go ahead, AJ.
Coach, speaking of the Chiefs, when you watch them play, are you worried about them moving forward and making a run deep into the playoffs? I know it hasn't. They're still the Chiefs, but I guess it hasn't looked as polished as it may have in the past.
I think this looks differently, AJ. I think this, let's face it, this is a defensive football team. And I think that's who they are. And I think that I think they still could get home field advantage throughout when you look at their record and we look at who they have left to play. I think they're going to be a really tough out because I think they kind of got a chip on their shoulder. We talk about the drops and everything else, but this is a team, they get Isaiah Pacheco back. They probably are more of a running football team in defense. Now, I know Andy will never say that, but that's who their identity really is. And they're just different than what we've seen in the past, which I think is a great tribute to Andy Reid. It's not trying to be who you are, be what you are. What you are is and it changes every year. It's just what you are. Be able to adapt and adjust to who you are, what your strengths are. Your defense has now become, you got these young guys in the last couple of years, Steve Spagnuolo, one of the best defensive coordinators in the game, Pacheco, now Clyde Edwards-Helaire. You're running the football, and you got a quarterback that can make the big plays when he has to. So I think they're kind of under the radar, and I think we'll end up going out to the AFC Championship game. Could be in Kansas City again.
You think it's just it looks different, so everybody's confused by it, but they're still winning. They're still winning, and they're still potentially the number one team in the AFC.
And they don't even feel good about it, which is why I love that even better. They got a little chip on their shoulder. They don't even like the way they look, which is just keep doing that right through February.
Yeah, no shit. And it feels like the Chiefs have been able to do that. Now, there's some places that I don't think anybody's thinking about February, but certainly over the next couple of years. We have a Green Bay Packer owner here. Boy, he's been through it. Ty it's his birthday week, by the way. Mm-hmm. Was born on hey, happy birthday, Ty.
Happy birthday, Ty.
Happy birthday. Merry Christmas, Ty.
Merry Christmas, Ty.
Merry Christmas, Ty. And I was super positive.
Yeah, Coach Cowher, things have kind of reached a fever pitch in Green Bay, at least with the fans, in terms of, hey, listen, we cannot do this anymore. Joe Barry cannot be the defensive coordinator of this team anymore. Last 2 weeks, NFC Player of the Week has gone against the Packers defense. A lot of people before the season even started said, hey, got to get rid of this guy. Need a new voice in there. And then for whatever reason, he's kind of, Matt LaFleur said in an interview this week, like, hey, we're not moving on from him. That's not what's best for the team. We'll address this at the end of the year. We always hear about the talent on their defense, like 9 first-round picks, but for whatever reason, they just can't seem to ever get it right. Why do you think Matt LaFleur is so convinced on kind of sticking with Joe Barry? And then, as a head coach, when do you know, like, okay, it's time. I got to move on from this guy, whether it be an offensive or a defensive coordinator, because it just, when you watch him every single week, it seems like nothing ever changes. The same issues kind of plague them year over year and week over week. Like, how do you know when, okay, we have to change things and move forward?
Well, I think if the results are not producing, I think the biggest thing as a head coach to me is the accountability is with the players, right? But it's also with the coaches. I was hard on the coaches, and sometimes I made change just for the sake of change. I think you look at what John Harbaugh did and has done in Baltimore. Todd Monken comes in this year. Offense is different. Mike McDonald, he comes in last year for Wink. So he's made some changes in Baltimore that, to me, that's part of it. It's just there's an infusion of energy. There's something new. It's something fresh, particularly with what you're doing if it becomes stale. And I think that's the biggest thing in the National Football League to me is you don't want to become stale. Don't want to become stagnant, predictable. Bring somebody in with a fresh set of eyes, a fresh set of ideas, doing some things that are a little more creative, and to try to get the best out of the players. So sometimes you have to have change just for the sake of change. So I would think this will be something Matt will sit back on in the offseason. And I would think he'd have to look at this very objectively. And I think there's a lot of places, even in Pittsburgh, you got to sit back at the end of the season, give yourself a week, remove the emotion, but be very objective about where you are. I've always said this as a head coach. My only loyalty I have is the winning. That's a loyalty I have. That's the winning. It's not the coaches. It's not the certain players. It's to what's in the best interest to us to win on a regular basis, to hand that trophy to my owner. That's the loyalty I have. And sometimes that means it's lonely at the top. It's tough decisions you have to make, but you have guys look at it and say, what is in the best interest of this football team right now? And sometimes you can't even quantify it. There may not be a metric out there that says you shouldn't do this, but sometimes it's a gut feel. That's why I like analytics. It's a great thing, but you better have a feel for the game. You better have a feel for your team. You better have a feel for where you are as an organization. And that's the most important thing.
Team on me. Team on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Team.
That was a great speech.
Unreal.
That was
Chuck gave a fuck
Chuck was even getting jacked up with the way you were talking there because I think that is what the football guy mentality is. And I think that's like a head coach's mentality. Yeah. And I was thinking as you were chatting about Matt LaFleur having to make that decision, you said it's lonely at the top. Those are tough decisions. It's like that is a hard conversation and a tough decision for somebody that might have to be in a seat. It's not always easy to have conflict. Not everybody loves the whole, hey, got to fire you. Hey, got to move on.
But you know what, though? But you know what, Pat, though? It's okay to have that little bit of edginess in the building. It's okay for people to have a little bit, how do I stand? If I want you to wonder how you stand, prove it to me every week. Prove it to me every week why you're the guy that I want to align myself with. Or are you just a flash in the pan for one game? Oh, that was good. Yeah. Well, you take 2 games off now? Or I don't know. But
gosh.
Hell yeah.
You had to have – what was your day-to-day like as you were the coach? That had to be pretty – we're winning all – your long days? How long were your days? I assume these were very, very –
No, yeah. It was – I always took my kids to school in the morning. So I dropped them off at the bus stop, Fox Chapel High School. I'd go through Oakland, go down to the south side, and Tuesdays game plan time, I'd stop by, get some bagels for the secretary, bring them in, and get them a couple of bagels. And then Tuesdays was a late night game plan, do the defense, get with the offense. Wednesdays, I'm in there 8 o'clock, get out of there about 9 or 10. Thursdays, 9 or 10. Fridays was great. I loved Fridays, baby. Everyone left the building. I sat in there. I always had a couple beers in my refrigerator, and I would put together my talk for the next night. How can I make this game personal? Is there something way I can make this game personal? So then I'd go meet my wife for dinner on Friday night. Kids be going off somewhere, and I was in bed by 10 o'clock.
Nice.
So it was
Getting ready for that speech.
Hell yeah.
Getting ready for that.
Oh, yeah, it was great.
I love you're in a brainstorm situation. Couple icy lights. Turn some music on here.
Yeah, that's it.
How are we making this thing personal for the boys?
Yeah. They're keeping it simple. The messaging's simple. You got to win in situational football. You got to win situational football. We got to win the line of scrimmage, situational football, 3rd down, red zone. We got to be able to win those situations. And we got to be able to be good in the 2-minute, be able to 4-minute if we have to lock something out. Don't beat yourself. No penalties. Pre-snap, it's unacceptable. Post-snap, get a feel for how they're calling the game. They're calling the hand check, which, let's find out. Huh? And I'm okay with a bad penalty every now and then. As long as it's out of effort, I get it. Just don't make the same one twice. Too many times, you and I will be talking on the sideline because you'll be right next to me. But that's fine. But I wanted them to be able to be a little bit edgy in the course of a game. And I told you my whole thing was I wanted them to walk on that field. They are the best. You are the best at what you do, no matter what your role is. And you have a swagger about you. You have a little of a confidence, maybe cockiness about you. And the only thing I'll ask you to do is you walk that line. And if you cross the line, I'm going to pull you back, which is what? Being disrespectful to the game, being disrespectful to the opponent, being disrespectful to a teammate, like not blocking. Okay? So, yeah, you know what? But I'll, if you cross that line, I'll pull you back. But damn, I want you to walk as close to that line as possible. And if I don't have to pull you back every now and then you're not getting close enough.
Hey, you know what I'm realizing here? This is your fault. How Tone feels right now.
Yep.
Your fault. Because the team that you built, the team that you coached and built in Pittsburgh is the model and the standard. Now, there's only been a few coaches, right, for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and who knows what the future holds. We are all big fans of Mike Tomlin, very appreciative of Mike Tomlin. Yeah. But Andy Reid was once the Philadelphia Eagles too. There's sometimes these types of things happen. I'm not saying it will in the Pittsburgh Steelers organization, not at all. But every single thing in every human's eyes of what Pittsburgh Steelers football is exactly what you just described it as. So you're not getting punked ever. Okay, that is not happening in Pittsburgh. You're representing the entire city. But when you don't give effort on a block, it's that won't happen in Pittsburgh Steelers football. It's kind of your fault.
No.
It's kind of your fault now that I'm thinking about it. Right, isn't it? The expectations kind of this mustache man's fault now that I think about it.
Yeah. Hey, it's just all I want is effort. All I want is effort. And I'll take care. I'll make sure we don't do things that are too complicated, that you don't understand, and that you can't play fast. If you're having to think too much, that's on me. But man, I'm going to take it all away. But I don't want to see, I don't want to see a lack of effort. Come on, man. Like, seriously?
Sounds like that one got under your skin a little bit, huh? Yeah, that one of you.
Yeah, it did. You know what? And I just say this. Football's not for everybody. It's not for everybody. No one's forcing them to be out there. If you don't like it, then maybe that's why I said maybe we're not the right place. This is maybe not the right team for you to be on. Because we're not for everybody. I expect certain things. I expect certain efforts. I expect you to hold yourself a certain way with our community, a much higher standard. You're a role model whether you want to be or not. And if you can't accept that, that's fine. There's other teams. Let's go somewhere else. I'd rather have a team that's together, that's united. And that team that won the championship was I had more talented teams, but no closer teams. Those guys would fight for each other. They played for each other, and they were there for each other every step of the way.
People are trying to bottle it, sell it, and find it for these cultures that are lost. Mm-hmm. And the culture that was found seemingly is anyone that you touch. We appreciate the hell out of you, man. Thank you for joining us on this Coaches Up Thursday.
Thanks, guys.
How do you see tonight going?
Yeah,
How do you see tonight going?
I love the Rams. I think Sean McVay's been one of the best coaching jobs he's had all year. I mean, I really, really do. And Matthew Stafford, I think, is one of the toughest quarterbacks in the National Football League. That guy and the running game they have, I love their offense. It translates over to the defense. I love them. I mean, I think they're a really hot team. They're a team I wouldn't want to play in the playoffs.
How about the Buffalo Bills, too, man? You talk about him going under there. They're a wagon.
Yeah.
There's some real – the Indianapolis coach. We talked about Shane Steichen.
Look out.
No question.
There's some teams down there. The Rams are one of them.
Yeah.
No, we don't know anybody on their defensive side of the ball, Coach. We were trying to figure it out. Aaron Donald and –
Yep.
And,
oh, wow.
And number 44.
Coach Byron Young.
Byron Young. Raheem Morris over there, though.
And I'll tell you what else they've done. They've improved their offensive line. That offensive line, I mean, Sean has done a great job. You talk about an offensive line that was a shambles a year ago. And you know what? You run the football a little bit, the play action comes off of it, and everything else just takes care of itself.
Play sound defense, got special teams. You're going to win games. It's old school, but it seems to still work here in 2023.
I think so.
God, what a legend. Merry Christmas, Coach. Bill Cowher, ladies and gentlemen.
Merry Christmas, guys. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Coach.
I mean, we could have kept going, but he gave like 2 speeches there where it was like, we should not follow.
2, like 5.
No, but I'm
Everything
saying
he says.
at the end there was 2 like, this is the grand finale speech.
Yeah.
There was like
fireworks.
Boom. And it was like, man, I still got like things still stuff we need to talk.
It reminds me so much of Jimmy Johnson. I was really fortunate to work for him in 1986 at Miami as a young GA. And nobody ever got comfortable. And we won every game that year. Remember, we lost Penn State fatigue game.
Yeah, I didn't know.
But as coaches and players, like if it got going too good, he would create a fire. He would have a dust up just to keep people on their edge. I mean, just like Coach Cowher. That was I mean, and that's the correct way to do that.
Well, you got to take that's a lot of uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Because if nobody's getting comfortable, that means you're not comfortable either at any moment with really anybody. Keeps an edge, keeps a focus, keeps a reality of actual, we need to show up every single day. He said accountability like 5 times. Yeah. But like being the person that has to instill that is not like, that's not a lot of fun. You know what I mean? I don't think that's the most fun.
But at the same time, we all loved Coach Johnson. Players loved it because he let them go play. And he let their light shine, swag like no other swag, right? But talk about crossing the line, they didn't do that.
Yeah, Bill was, and you got to be the epitome of what you're preaching too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you gotta represent everything that you're saying, and that's why he was so loved. He's from Pittsburgh, so he's going to be loved regardless. I think I've learned that about Pittsburgh. A lot of people just watch our show because we're from Pittsburgh, which is really nice of those people. So he was going to be supported regardless, just like Mike McCarthy down to Dallas Cowboys. But like the fact that he was the Pittsburgh Steelers coach and had the culture that represented the city and had success in players that everybody loved, and then he was animated.
Oh, yeah.
He was a character. Mm-hmm. When we're watching the game, you are going to see that chin and the spit, and then obviously they only run that one time where he put the paper into the pocket because highlights can only be so long. Yeah. He used to have a lot of conversations with the refs. I mean, he wanted to win. It seemingly he was playing in the game, He was a great representation, I think, of all of what Pittsburgh wanted to be represented about.
You're right, though. It is his fault, the way that most Steelers fans feel today. And I was not like, when I was 7 years old in 95, I remember standing in my grandma's kitchen watching the Hail Mary by Harbaugh, and then Neil O'Donnell blew the Super Bowl.
Why did he do that?
Some people say that he was paid off to throw a couple pick sixes.
Which is rude to say. We don't know that about Neil.
No.
But anyway, so I was like 7, and then Cowher's Super Bowl was my senior year of high school. So my developmental football years was all Coach Cowher and like how a team's supposed to be run. And now the team doesn't look like that, and we're upset about it.
Still in it though.
Bummed out.
We're bummed out, Coach.
Damn guys bummed out.
Hey, are you bummed out a little bit?
This
morning? Are you bummed out a little bit?
I was bummed out. What I read that you guys showed me really bummed me out.
What was it?
Bummed out.
What happened? What happened? We showed him Depends prices went up.
See, I'm
I
bummed
had
out.
to get one.
I
I had to
mean,
get
what are we
one.
doing? I'm bummed
I
out.
had to get one.
There's no reason for that.
Just one.
Hey, I'll tell you what.
We're talking about what Big Ben Roethlisberger
thought
said
we'd come
about
a long way.
Chuck Pagano.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was bummed out about that too.
Chuck was bummed out
He's
too.
bummed out.
We watched him find out about it. He had no idea. He had his blinders on all week. He had not heard it. That had not cracked into his timeline.
It's not on my algo.
And then this morning, hey, do you want to answer Big Ben or
what?
Big Ben? What
are you talking about?
What do you mean?
He found out. He was bummed out.
Bummed out.
I'm bummed out.
But when you listened to it, you thought,
Well, like I text you.
Yeah.
During that game,
Yeah.
after my remarks, whatever, and then I saw that. But what did I text you?
he said maybe Ben was right.
During that game, I might have sent it to you too, Tony.
Yeah.
So
maybe Ben was right.
Maybe Ben.
So that was privately, Chuck
Yep.
did that
Yeah.
without knowing the Ben thing. So I think what we're saying to Ben is, hey, yeah, we're all bummed out.
We're all bummed out.
We're all bummed
Ton
out.
of respect for Ben.
Well,
He's got a ton of respect for you. He said it.
Ton of respect, and
Gonna be pretty bummed when we are at Radio Row and we look over and Big Ben's giving Chuck a wedgie for running.
that isn't what he said.
Well,
Spank was kind of alluding to some.
Yeah.
Spank was, yeah.
Spence. Sorry, I am so sorry.
Spank.
I thought his name was Spank.
It's a nickname for Spence. It's Spank.
Spence.
he said I was better than that. I should have been better than that.
Yes.
He's right.
I have.
And I
I
apologize.
love football,
Who doesn't?
and it's not
Called
easy.
Spank?
I thought his name was Spanks. That's on me. I only see that's not an easy job. The one he has, he does it very well.
No.
That is a very good
Well, no,
show.
it's fair. It's fair. Spence had to tell Ben my name. I got to tell you Spence's name.
That happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who's that guy? Who's the guy with the cowboy hat?
Steelers guy.
We got 100 guys though. That's a lot different than just the one guy with Ben. So I apologize to
Spence.
See, that's the thing. We say it with a Southern accent.
Sure.
I think just whenever we're talking about it.
I've also been calling him Spank this whole time.
That's probably why it has creeped into my ears, is because the way you describe co-host or whatever.
No, Spank is. This is no disrespect whatsoever. The only Spencer I've really ever known, his name was Spank. That was his name.
Oh, so that's like the nickname. That's like whenever James Cook became Jimbo.
Bingo.
Because
Yeah.
allegedly Josh Allen said Jimbo one time, and then now everybody just calls him Jimbo.
Yeah.
So that is
So Spencer to Spence without an E.
Spank.
Yeah, basically.
Anyway, Spence is good on that show. That's a good show.
It's a great show.
So you get his name's Spence.
It'd be Spank if you just took
Yeah,
the E
obviously.
off, right?
Yeah, but we put an A and changed the C with a K.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you change the
Thank you.
complete spelling, it is a different word.
Yeah.
That is true.
SP and
No,
N.
you have the bones.
is not a very good nickname.
Spank
is. Spank is a
Spank.
terrible
Bad.
name.
No,
With an E.
Spank is a good nickname.
E, I
Spank
like
is
a lot.
sweet. I like
Me thinking his name was Spank was to your good news.
Yes.
This is a good
Yeah.
thing, not a bad thing. I like that footballing show. But whenever they brought up Coach Pagano, I didn't want to listen because I'm like, well, I like this show. I don't want to have to hate this show. But I think what he said was right. Come on, you know better. Which is kind of what I think Tone said to you later in the day last week, whenever he asked if you ever give criticism of the Indianapolis Colts on that show without calling and asking and seeing what the actual thing is inside there. So I think what you said was you were going to bat for Mike Tomlin. I think you were going to bat for Mike Tomlin as a coach, saying, hey, Ben, we don't need you adding fuel to this entire
There's enough fuel.
hellhole. There's a lot of it. And then you watched the game and you found out, and I think you even said, maybe Ben was right, Ben cares about the Steelers seemingly more so, and he feels obligated to say what is happening.
Yeah,
Feels
I
like that
wasn't
with
trying
Bill.
to disrespect Ben.
No, I agree. Feels like that with Bill Cowher, though, too. Did you hear the way he was talking about that?
He does not like the not blocking thing.
He said, and we'll see what happens with that. Like his Cowher's like, we'll see.
Football's not for everybody.
How is he going to teach?
He talked quick.
Yeah.
He
I wanted to
talked
get
quick.
it.
Football's not for everybody.
Can you imagine, AJ, him trying to teach defense right now, coach defense, the way it is?
My God.
I know.
Because those games, I mean, back Baltimore Pitt,
He said
when it was
Spurg,
on,
he said he wanted.
Those were the best.
He said he wanted him to walk the line. You know, let's see how they're calling it. Okay, let's see. Let's see if they're holding. All right, but let's learn about that. Former player. You know, people forget he was a player who retired early to start coaching in the NFL. If I do remember his documentary, which was on
MGM Plus.
Yep.
Remember that, AJ? We watched it.
I remember it clearly. Yes, I'm a giant fan of Cowher. Yes.
But yeah, I like that he's like, borderline cocky when we walk on that field. Every position I want. And that had some defenses flying around. And back in those days, what were the rules? If we're testing a line, could be literally
kill him.
He just can't kill a guy.
Kill him.
well, can you imagine?
Kill him.
That's what it was.
Hey, can you imagine showing George and the boys, okay, this is Hines Ward, this is how you block in the National Football League.
There's some
what he
wide
used to
receivers
do.
that do that still. There's still some that try.
You guys talked about the 49ers. We broke them down on the 33rd. They're unbelievable.
That's buy-in, I think.
Absolutely. And when your best players are doing that, young guys like George, Deontay Johnson, they're like, oh, shit, I got to do this. Best player on our team's doing that. I got to do that or my ass is out the door.
What the hell is going to happen over there in Pittsburgh? I mean, Bill Connor gave us the answer. He said he's going to have to look at this objectively, Mike Tomlin, and he can turn around. And his only loyalty is to winning. That is the only loyalty. That was a very powerful line to hear because he goes in there and it's like, all right, who made us better? Who made us worse? Not scared to make change. He said, I just make change sometimes because it was just needed just because.
Yeah.
So he's just like, go ahead and Tomlin hasn't really done that. That's not been a Tomlin move.
And everyone who knows him says his fault is one of his greatest assets, and that's his loyalty. But as far as what's going to happen, I have no idea. If I was to predict, Coach Tomlin will be back next year because the Steelers are the Steelers, and they don't like making changes or anything like that. And consistency has led to a lot of great things. And
jeez,
what?
Tom sounded like Denny.
Yep, sounded a little bit sarcastic, a little bit underhanded type thing.
Yeah, Tom, you did.
No, three coaches since the 70s. They don't like. There's not a lot of change going on there. Is what all
so don't you think he made a great point when he said, finish the season, take a week, right?
Yeah.
Take a week and then be objective. Because you can go right now and make a knee jerk, and then all of a sudden it's like, why did I do that? Whatever. But you finish this thing out, you evaluate everything, you make objective, and then say, okay, what gives us best chance to win?
Well, good luck to Tomlin doing that. Good luck to the Steelers. And big shout out to Bill Cowher for stopping by on this Coaches Up Thursday. We had Saban. We had James Cook. That was quick.
That was a quick one.
Yeah, but
He was
close to the end of the hour.
He had meetings.
He's got a lot going on.
Yeah.
Big game.
Mm-hmm. It was basically the same as Pete. It was the same as them.
Oh, we had Pete Thamel on?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I think
we really had a program today.
Pete said more words, but
Bill Cowher. Similar.
Pete talks fast.
He does.
He moves.
So does James.
Big words.
Yeah. James does too. I think he talks fast.
Yeah,
too.
Pete's info he never stops.
Yeah, so it's been a great program.
Vessel of information.
You know how we can make it better?
How's that?
Pick some winners for tonight.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have been in the middle of a heater for the entire season. And it's not necessarily me or AJ or the Talks the Table or Lieutenant Diggs. It is a paisano who had coached football for 36 years, 18 in college, 18 in the NFL, almost 2 decades at every single level. Now, he does not gamble, but he's not scared to make some picks. He is currently 9-4-1 after predicting perfectly what the Raiders were going to do to the Chargers just a week ago. You see, he's holding a sword. He has an eye patch on. You see.
Like a Raider.
Like a pirate. That got him the 9-4-1. Great job on the graphic, Dirty.
Unbelievable.
Great pose there, Chuck, looking like a pirate. Thank you for pulling that off.
Chuck.
Now, Saints and Rams. Who do you like And are we getting to double-digit wins against the spread on Thursday Night Football?
Come on.
Is tonight the night where we do something where it's like, damn, Chuck was hot on those Thursday night games? Or are we saying, wait a minute, Chuck, there's still a couple weeks left now. Hold the phone.
Uh-oh.
Let's slow the pony here. Who do we like? How do we like it? What's going to happen tonight, Coach Chuck Pagano?
Should be a great game.
Oh, yeah.
Should be a great game.
Great.
2 7-7 teams fighting for their playoff lives in the run. Sean McVay's 5-2 since taking over a head coaching job there in L.A. 5-2 on Thursday night.
Oh, short weeks. We heard 5-1. Was it 5-1?
6-0 you mentioned, but 5-2 total Thursday games.
3-0 home games, though.
Okay.
Yep. It was 6-1 against the spread, I think.
Okay.
Dennis Allen, 0-2 Thursday night.
Oh, whoa, that's a real one.
Denny.
Okay. So he's 0-2. You look at the Saints team, they've scored 10th most points over the last several weeks. Okay. National Football League.
Good.
25 a game. Rams, on the other hand, 132 points last 4 games.
That's a lot.
Third best National Football League.
Wow, 10's good, 3's better.
Yeah. Olave's supposed to play tonight. He's back, but he's been fighting an ankle injury. Ramzak's out. Their stud offensive right tackle.
Check.
He's out. They got Andres Pete as the left. Kamara's you got to deal with Kamara.
Kamara's problem.
He's a dude.
He is.
No, he's a dude. Run and pass. So you gotta check him. I like their tight ends.
Jimmy Graham scoring touchdowns.
Jimmy, he's just the red zone dude. It's the other guy.
Jawan.
It's Jawan Johnson, right? And then
Taysom.
Well, he's another problem. You got to handle that stuff.
Foster Moreau.
Moreau's the other tight end. I think he's 87, right?
Yeah, he's
so 83 and
menace.
87. They'll use 12 personnel. So I think those guys are going to be a little bit of a deal. But you look at this Rams team. No hotter team.
None.
No
Colts,
hotter
Colts,
team.
Niners?
And
No.
let me go back to Saints. We talked about their
No hotter
defense, right? They've got a good defense. They're 6th in points allowed. They do a nice job in the red area. They're really good on third down. So you're going to get a really good third down offense in the Rams against a really good third down defense in the Saints. So I like where they're at. But the Rams, they're hot as hell. Their offense is playing lights out. Matthew Stafford, Coward said it. That guy's a stud. He's one of the toughest sumbitches around. That guy, you can't get him out of the game. We've seen it time and time again. And the way he's slinging it, and you got Cooper Kupp, you got Puka Nacua, you got Kyron Williams. That's the thing. New Orleans is 24th in the league rush defense. 24th. There's only 32 teams, so they're 24th, right? So you got Kyron Williams, all right? You got Royce Freeman. Those guys are straight ahead, no fair dodging, downhill. Kyron can catch it out of the backfield, so I think they're going to run the hell out of the ball, and Matt's going to be under center, and then the play action, and then the double high sevens, the over routes.
Oh, yeah.
You know how hard that is to pick up when your linebackers get
sucked
up?
Hey, a lot of sucked up linebackers tonight.
AJ,
Linebackers getting sucked up tonight.
AJ, when you start getting the ball run down your throat,
start getting sucked up.
And then all of a sudden
Sucked up
you
right
pull
down
it
the
out.
throat. It'll screw you.
Stafford is one of the best at sucking it up, too.
Yeah, he'll suck them up.
Yeah, easy.
Higbee.
Because he's got good hands.
Yeah, great hands, yeah.
Yeah.
Who's 15? Remind me, 15.
Tutu Atwell.
No, he's in.
No, it's
DeMarcus
Mahomes.
Robinson.
Thank you.
Robinson.
Yeah.
Boy, he had a heck of a game this last one.
I think Tutu back? Did he clear concussion? I think so.
He did clear concussion protocol.
So they got a high powered, and we talked about ad nauseum, Raheem Morris, the job he's done with that no-name defense. I mean, he's taken a lot of young players. I keep bringing up Byron Young. I like this Kobe Turner, number 91, who's a rookie. He's got 5.5 sacks. Keep an eye out for number 91.
Okay.
Especially on obvious pass situations, a little inside rush with Aaron Donald.
Yeah, you can probably bet him to have over half a sack. Yeah.
So I'm definitely thinking Rams. I'm definitely think this is going to be a good game for a minute. But I think in the end, that run game, that play action pass, Aaron Donald, Young, Turner,
Chris Gaines,
some of those other dudes on that Rams defense, and Raheem Morris, they're going to make a couple plays. And Stafford's going to be smart. He's got to take care of the football. But I like the. I'm going to lay the points. I like the Rams in this one.
Not a bad coach.
There you go,
You like the pick? I like the pick. Well thought out. I think it was a good pick. AJ, did he speak you into a confirmation or change your mind about your pick for this evening?
Well, I was leaning Rams heading into the program today, and the fact that Bill Cowher and Chuck Pagano both seem to feel pretty good about the Rams, who would I be to go against those two? So, yeah, give me the Rams and the points.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
2.
91% of the money's on the Rams.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, this is bad news bears.
Yeah, but it's Christmas. It's Christmas.
It
This
is
one of
Christmas.
those. This is a gift.
It's different.
It's a gift.
It's different.
Just take it.
It's a gift. Thank you so much, right?
Yeah. I'm on the Rams.
When we woke up in the morning, we said it's a special time of year.
Yeah.
It's Christmas time. It is.
Yeah.
It is.
It's the holidays. Whichever one you celebrate, it's happening.
Yeah. Right. It's here.
This is a gift from all of the gods, the football ones included.
Yep.
Saying, you guys had to deal with some terrible primetime games.
Sure.
Yeah.
You guys had to deal with some real nonsense when it was coming to finding of players and hits and calls and shit. Here's a gift going into Christmas.
That's right.
To start week 16, 91% of the money is on the Los Angeles Rams this evening.
Yeah.
In SoFi?
Yep.
LeBron James gonna be there?
I don't know.
He might, because the Christmas game they're in L.A., so they probably should be home.
Gonna be celebrity stars out. Larry David gonna be there?
Larry will probably be there.
Larry will be there.
Throwing money at Cheeks, right?
Yep.
That's Blueface. Blueface throwing money at Cheeks.
Definitely star-studded event.
Oh my
What
God.
about the Asian lady you had on the show?
She's a Chargers fan.
Yeah.
Oh,
What's her name?
Marianne Doe.
Marianne Doe. She might be a Rams fan now.
Where'd she go?
I
Flipping.
guarantee you, if you look, she'll be in there tonight.
What's your problem? That was the narrative.
We've seen her with different jerseys on.
Oh!
Come on.
Chuck.
We did see that. She's a fan of a couple teams. So what? Sue her.
Yeah, she moved.
She loves football.
Our
Love
son's
that. I
ball
love
order
that.
team.
I wouldn't hide that if I was her.
Buffalo Wild Wings actually sent us lunch because of that whole situation.
Yeah,
did.
thank you,
and they
Marianne.
sent us something with lunch, too. Massive plant.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They did.
It was a great little.
funny.
That was
cap.
very clever. Mm-hmm. I do appreciate that. Give me the Rams.
Hell yeah.
Here we go.
I'm with the people. 9% of the people are picking. This is at the craps table of the no pass line.
Yep.
That's what you're with the house. This is a team event tonight.
Yep.
Sounds like Con Man's on the other side.
No, I'm just curious. Has the line moved with the 91%? Because if it doesn't move, usually that's because the books like the other side.
Sometimes. But this is just a gift.
Don't matter.
But if the line hasn't moved with 91%.
He's trying to stir
Don't matter.
If the line hasn't moved with 91% of the money, that is just something to think about.
Listen, these time travelers who are doing these sports books
Exactly.
lines, okay, every once in a while they just accidentally mess up.
Yeah.
Something slips through the cracks, like Sean Stallone.
Christmas.
Yeah.
Bingo.
That happened last week
With Raiders.
with the Raiders and the Chargers.
Yeah, you're right.
That was like a 3-point spread. That
What
was
if,
that was
what
a
if
gift.
that's what Thursday Night Football becomes?
That'd be awesome.
Just
That's
a gift.
for the holiday season. It's just a gift.
Yeah.
Aren't those the best?
They're the best.
3 point. And also, it's 42-0 at half.
Yes.
Like, oh God, that's
Wet
the
bandits, they left the water on.
Easiest
Chuck, it's
cheese
a
I've
soap.
ever won.
All right, there we go. So we're all on the Rams, just like the rest of the world.
Go.
Bingo.
All right, Merry Christmas, says Sports Books. Before we get out of here, we got to have our obvious
Come on.
family program.
Yeah.
Have an opportunity to win 25 people $500.
Here we go.
Come on, Chuck.
Now, Chuck, you have been a delight all season. Your picks have been exquisite.
What?
But here for this particular Christmas week, you can make 25 people's lives better. All you got to do is what? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Throw a football. Throw a
Okay.
football. All you got to do
All right.
throw a football
on,
into a hoop.
Chuck.
Which hoop will you be throwing for, Chuck?
That's a good question.
Yeah, that is a good question.
The last couple of weeks I've been here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you make
Can't hear him.
And
I can't hear him.
Chuck, AJ, people can't hear you.
Number one, I'll put it on the deal. Okay, so AJ, the last 2 weeks, and I'm going to ask you for your advice on this.
Okay.
Last 2 weeks, I've missed this side over here. Okay. Should I go to the left? Should I stick with the football? Should I putt?
Oh. Whoa. He's contemplating a whole new sport. We want to talk about waffle.
Well, just tell me which way to go.
Football season. We ain't putting.
Chuck, I love, I'm always calling for people to putt. I think you could definitely drain the putts, but no, I think you should stay on that hoop, the hoop to it, your diagonal hoop right here, this one. Yeah, go drain this one. Drain your first shot.
AJ's been here. He's thrown these balls before.
Yeah.
Terribly.
Not an easy throw. That is not an easy throw to bank that sucker in.
He has felt the pressure that you have felt every single time you've attempted it, but on this particular day, the football gods and the Christmas spirit is hovering around all of us.
Come on, Chuck.
We got a handout tonight in this game, and we got 25 winners. When Chuck Pagano bears this football into that hoop right over.
It's a good start. It's a good start.
Just on
Good
the
aggressive.
line.
Good
You see a
aggressive
little
start.
the anger,
Yeah.
a little angry.
Oh, he's pissed. He is
Dismissive
pissed.
leg.
If you jump and try to kick your ass, that helps.
No.
Oh,
Did not help
huge.
yesterday. Did not help yesterday. AJ Hawk has something to say to you, Coach, before you take this next attempt, obviously, in this Christmas season.
Chuck, a serious question for you. What'd you think of Cowher saying he likes guys being a little bit on edge, not knowing where they stand? I think that's amazing. I think it's healthy to have everybody a little bit scared, especially walking in after a loss or something.
Absolutely, 100%.
He loves it too.
Guys get comfortable, they get complacent.
Right.
Complacency
That's
kills.
human nature. AJ.
Train it.
Train
That
it.
is human nature, Chuck.
That's your speech?
Yep, that's it. Chuck knows. He doesn't need. Are you kidding me? Chuck doesn't need
He was just
anything.
trying to say you were going to get fired if you miss this. Is that what you were trying to say, AJ, there? Is that
No,
what
honestly,
like it.
when I heard Cowher say that in the back of my mind, I just wanted to bring it up and talk about it with somebody because I loved it. And I love what he said. And I think it's true. Sometimes it's not that fun in the moment to live in that culture, but it's good. It's good for your team.
creates champions,
Yeah.
and sets a culture. Not easy to be the person that has to be the person, though, And he talked about that. It's lonely at the top sometimes.
Excellence isn't free.
Yep, that was awesome. He had a great one. You know who else is going to have a great one?
Who's that?
Chuck Pagano.
Chuck Pagano. He's going 10-4-1 tonight after he wins yet another against the spread pick. Yes!
That felt like it. That felt like the one.
That's good
Oh, my
throw.
God, you're in there, Chuck.
That's the spot, Chuck. It
That was
just
a
didn't
tough
bounce the way it
bounce,
should have.
Chuck,
Got
you're
a
in there.
live arm today.
Oh, he's spinning it, isn't he?
Come on, Chuck.
Remember that first one, not great. This one, though, fantastic!
Swing.
25 people, $500.
Oh, Chuck, I got you.
All you got to do is retweet this post, say something nice to somebody, and put the easiest way to pay you digitally. Chuck, that was fantastic. 25 people, $500.
Baby Chuck.
Way to
What
go.
a great way to end this Coach Us Up Thursday. We'll be back tomorrow, overreacting to the Rams and Saints this evening, and then leading into the greatest Christmas weekend of all time. We can't thank you enough for allowing us to be a part of your life. Be a friend, tell a friend something nice. It might change their life. We'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye!